Chapter 1885. Such a pervert. Chapter 1885. Such a pervert, he played with it in the middle of his applause. He wasn't a match at all. If they continued to play, those people would go crazy. They couldn't see what kind of power it was. Jiu Qianma knew clearly. The Devil Temple had 100,000 inheritance power. The old monk was the temple keeper. He must also have some kind of inheritance power. Very strong. Since they were not a match for the holy general, they could only send him out. Jiu Qianma's voice fell. 12 holy generals' body slightly moved. They did not attack the old monk, but rather all of them suddenly rushed towards Long Fei. It was extremely fast. Jiu Qianma's eyes flashed, and he said excitedly, "That's right, old monk, didn't you say you want to save people? Then we shall kill Long Fei first." Right now, Long Fei was like a fish on a chopping block, waiting to be slaughtered. His holy power value had all been used up. His health point was declining. Right now, he didn't even have the strength to climb up from the ground. He felt extremely uncomfortable, seeing the 12 holy generals rushing towards him. Long Fei's expression tensed up, but he did not think of death in his heart. He felt that death was very far away from him, because the power of time, that the sweeping monk-esque control. Boom, boom. With a step forward, he flew forward. At the same time, 12 holy generals made his move and slashed out towards Long Fei. At this moment, the old monk walked forward unhurriedly, as if everything that had happened had nothing to do with him. Jiu Qianma laughed loudly. "Ha ha ha! Old monk, Long Fei is going to die. Save him. Save the ghost. Ha ha ha!" The 12 holy generals made his move at the same time, so fast that it made one's hair stand on end. It was impossible. "It's too late." Jiu Qianma watched as the old monk walked forward slowly. He laughed even more proudly. "Long Fei, you're dead. Ha ha!" But just as the 12 holy generals' attack landed, buzz! A strange power space suddenly shot out. It completely enveloped the entire 12 holy generals. At this moment, Jiu Qianma laughed crazily with his mouth wide open. The surrounding disciples of the Destiny God Palace were laughing complacently, mocking Long Fei as he was about to die, and also mocking the old monk as he walked slowly and unhurriedly. The 12 holy generals was floating in the air. They were like a wooden statue that had been nailed down. Their eyes were ice cold, and the aura exuded from their bodies was strong. As Long Fei laid on the ground, he felt this strange energy space, and the corner of his mouth curled up. He laughed excitedly. The time laws that my mother comprehended. Drip, drip, drip. Another 3 seconds passed. Boom, 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 boom. One figure after another shot back, landing back in their original position. 12 holy generals moved. However, at this moment, 12 holy generals uncontrollably returned to his original position and was completely unable to move. It was like a dream. Jiu Qianma's scalp was also numb. He saw the old monk support Long Fei as he walked step by step into the darkness and watched on helplessly, but there was nothing they could do. This feeling was too unbearable. The 12 holy generals continuously tried and continuously returned to the starting point. It was a nightmare. The old monk supported Long Fei and disappeared. Jiu Qianma's body was paralyzed as he fell to the ground. Is he a human or a ghost? Great Elder, Long Fei has left, but the 12 Hell Reapers is still in the solar array. According to Long Fei's personality, he will definitely come back to save them. As long as we rearrange everything, I don't believe that we won't be able to capture him. Not waiting for him to finish, from within the darkness, a ray of light directly flew towards the solar array. Rumble. The great battle of 10,000 sun was immediately shattered into pieces. The 12 Hell Reapers turned into 12 rays of light and disappeared into the darkness. This time, all of the elders were paralyzed as they sat on the ground with foolish expressions on their faces. Especially Jiao Tianma, just a big idiot. Main temple, his residence. His eyes slightly contracted, his fists clenched, his joints popping out. Unexpectedly, the people of Holy Buddhahood are actually also there, and he actually grasped a tiny bit of the power of time. Mu Wanner, looks like I have really underestimated you back then. But don't worry, I was able to make you disappear all those years ago, and now I can also make your son disappear. That kind of cultivation technique is so powerful that he can't withstand it himself. Why did he still try to open it? What are you thinking about? Let's not talk too much. Let's first prepare his body first. His life is not stable. In these 3 days, the 4 holy monks had continuously transferred energy to Long Fei, and the energy of the Holy Buddha poured into Long Fei's body, healing every single part of his body. Even though Long Fei was unconscious, he could clearly feel the injuries in his body recovering bit by bit. Moreover, he could feel a strong power growing within his body. It was the dragon-shaped mark on his arm. The moment Holy Buddha's power entered his body, his arms started to burn as if they were on fire. It seemed like it was also increasing his strength. Within the space ring, the main artifact, the dragon coffin, was trembling even more violently. It was as if he was about to awaken. Time passed bit by bit. After 7 days and 7 nights, Long Fei let out a breath as he slowly opened his eyes. In that moment, his eyes flashed with the light of the Holy Buddha, and his body suddenly moved. 1 step landed. Buzz! Buzz! The Buddhist light beneath his feet continued to shine, and Long Fei's entire body became light and graceful. Boom! Boom! 2 rays of Holy Buddha light shot out from the gaps between his fists. This feeling, it was as if Long Fei was holding the power of the entire world in his hands. Looking at his hands, Long Fei became excited. What the F***? So strong, so abnormal strong. My physical body, my strength, my speed. 7 days and 7 nights. He was like someone who had been transformed by an advanced scientific force. Watching Long Fei wake up, 4 holy monks walked out of the darkness. Long Fei immediately said, "Thank you, Senior." The 4 of them did not speak, and only looked at Long Fei seriously. Long Fei was also looking at them. Although he wanted to ask them many questions about himself, he also wanted to know more about their cultivation. Sweeping Monk was strong enough to control time. What about the 4 of them? Just who was it? One must know that the Buddhist sect did not have any particularly powerful forces in the 100,000 planes, nor any particularly powerful powerhouse. Long Fei really wanted to know. However, from start to finish, they did not say a single word. Since they did not say, Long Fei did not ask. However, Long Fei could tell that the 4 of them were not optimistic about him and did not recognize him. In fact, their eyes were even a little cold. If not for the order from the voice in the darkness, they would have left long ago. For holy monks, Long Fei did not surrender their hearts. To make them completely submit, it was very difficult. At least, Long Fei had not been able to do it yet. If it weren't for Mu Wanner, the 4 of them wouldn't be here, nor would they waste 1,000 years of effort to save Long Fei, nor would they use their 1,000 years of strength to build a holy Buddhahood for him. Not because of his mother. Long Fei simply did not have the qualifications to receive all of these. For people with over 1,000 years of cultivation, the pure power of the holy Buddhahood, half a son of God's body. If they were in holy Buddhahood, perhaps someone would say that they were crazy, seeing that Long Fei had awakened. The four figures slowly retreated and disappeared into the darkness. Long Fei grinned and said, "I will firmly remember this favor. There will be a day when I will make you all serve in front of me with 100% respect." Long Fei also felt that they were not optimistic about him. He will change everything. Prove yourself by action. And then Long Fei walked out with large strides. The voices of the four people sounded out in the darkness. Is it really worth it? Since the Son of God has not appeared, we will use such a profound skill. If the Son of God appears, how will we face it? We have let our holy Buddhahood down. This is what we agreed to do. No matter how much we have to pay, we have to do it. He really isn't qualified. Whether we have the qualifications or not is not important. The most important thing is that we've done one thing, and now there are only two left. Two more things, and we'll be able to leave this place. I really miss holy Buddhahood. Chapter 1887, The Power of Transformation. Chapter 1887, The Power of Transformation. Long Fei came out of seclusion once again. Everyone was excited. The hanging heart was finally relieved. How's the investigation going? Destiny God Palace. Jiu Tianmo asked. An elder immediately replied. Reporting to Great Elder, we've already investigated thoroughly. That old monk brought Long Fei back to the God Rare sect. Now that Long Fei has come out from closed-door cultivation, he is in perfect condition. Jiu Tianmo was shocked. His eyes turned sinister. Damned thing, your life is really big. You're not dead even like this. Grand Elder, what do we do now? That old monk of the Devil Temple is too powerful. We are simply no match for him. Even Lord Holy General is unable to do anything to him. They did not want to experience that strange scene again. It was too hard. It was as if he was repeatedly being toyed with, but at the same time, it truly happened. It was as if he was being ruthlessly toyed with. He felt scared just thinking about it. It was the same in Jiu Tianma's heart, but he believed that when the Destiny God sees this, he will definitely think of a way to deal with it. He coldly snorted, "What is there to be afraid of? Lord, Holy General, you shall be resurrected without end and shall never die." What can he do? The Devil Temple can save him once. If it's like this again, he definitely won't escape. Jiu Tianma's brows moved and said lightly, "Pay close attention to the movements of the God Rare sect. Next time you definitely cannot let Long Fei escape." "Yes, sir." And then Jiu Tianma entered the secret underground hall within the secret hall. The main body of the 12 holy generals was entangled with 12 females. These females did not die, but instead were trapped in an endless terror. They were the main body. The Holy General was just a type of parasite. As long as their fate wheel is not destroyed, the Holy General will not die. Zhu Tianma kneeled on the ground and said respectfully, "Master Fate, this time we failed." The Destiny God statue's eyes twitched and said coldly, "That old monk is from the Holy Buddhahood, so you don't have to worry too much after obtaining the time inheritance. The people of Holy Buddhahood never kill. Other than that, I have already sent people into the Devil Island. Together, you can attack now, but remember, I want Long Fei alive. Do you understand? I want his soul and fate wheel." Zhu Tianma immediately replied, "This subordinate understands. Master, if Long Fei is caught alive, what you promised me before." Not waiting for him to finish, a strand of power from the god statue directly lifted Zhu Tianma into the air. Zhu Tianma's face immediately paled, and his entire body's strength was suppressed, causing him to be unable to move at all. "I hate it when people negotiate with me," Zhu Tianma said with great difficulty. "Master, I won't dare to ever again." Bam! A fierce smash. Uff! Zhu Tianma spat out a mouthful of blood. He did not dare complain at all, and immediately knelt on the ground while shivering. He was extremely afraid. He didn't even dare to raise his head. Destiny God looked like he was looking coldly at Zhu Tianma, who was kneeling on the ground, and said coldly, "You want to capture Long Fei with your own hands?" Zhu Tianma immediately said, "Yes, I want to capture him myself and gift him to you." Destiny God gave a faint smile and said, "All right, I have a power here. After fusion, you will instantly reach the pinnacle of Venus." And as soon as he finished, the Destiny God surrounded Zhu Tianma like a strand of energy, pulling his life wheel out. He laughed sinisterly. "Your life wheel is in my hands now. I grant you with limitless power to revive. From now on, no one can kill you. You will never die." Ah! A painful scream rang out. Zhu Tianma's eyeballs were about to pop out. However, his entire body was undergoing transformations, as if it was undergoing mutation. His bones swelled up, and his muscles transformed into metallic bones that were attached to his bones. He looked just like a bronze corpse. Zhu Tianma slowly stood up and looked at his hands. He felt the limitless power within his body, and his sinister gaze seemed to be filled with excitement. "Ha ha ha! Ha ha ha!" He laughed arrogantly. "Long Fei, just you wait. 1 month from now, I will personally take your life. Main Temple, Destiny God Palace." Destiny God stood with his hands behind his back. Behind him stood a man, Zhan Wushuang, who already had a body. In 3 years, he had reconstructed his body, a perfect body. Destiny God said lightly, "Wushuang, I heard that you will be chosen as the Son of God." Zhan Wushuang's eyes flashed with a bright light, and he immediately bowed. "Master, no matter what I become, I will never forget the kindness you have shown me." Destiny God smiled lightly and said, "All right, that's enough. Ancient holy battlefield doesn't need to go. I have more important things to do for you. As long as you do well, you will definitely be selected as one of the God children. Once you become one of the God children." Ha ha! The Destiny God did not continue speaking. He looked at the endless sky and muttered, "This world should have changed. Ha ha ha! God, rare sect. I am now the master of the Devil Temple. You can all go in and cultivate. There are 100,000 legacies inside. Whatever you guys are suitable for cultivation. You don't have to care about all that. No one can stop you." Long Fei said, This was something he had promised. While Long Fei was speaking, the door of the Devil Temple also opened. Everyone looked at the big door of the Devil Temple. They were all stunned. Long Fei smiled lightly and said, "Go in. I'll be looking forward to when you all come out." 100,000 inheritances for Long Fei would be better than killing a few more monsters and telling him to cultivate inside for a few years. After 10-odd years, he would probably go crazy. The path he walked was different from others. 100,000 inheritances were powerful, but they were not what he wanted. "All of you, go in." Long Fei smiled faintly. Ba Wanghua said, "If we go in, you won't go alone to seek revenge, right?" Everyone trembled and looked at Long Fei. Long Fei said, "Before I think of a way to deal with Holy General, I won't act rashly." "That's more like it." And then everyone from Ba Wanghua walked into the Devil Temple. Long Fei looked at the old monk and said, "Senior, you can also go in." Right now, he admired the sweeping monk from the bottom of his heart. The old monk did not answer. Long Fei did not continue asking and walked to the front of the desperate man and said, "You can also go in." Desperate man looked at Long Fei and asked, "Where do you want to go?" Long Fei grinned and smiled. "You still understand me. I'm going to the remaining 8 great sections. I'm going to devour all of their cultivation techniques. I can't do it. The blasting fist won't kill them." In addition, Long Fei smiled slightly and said, "It's about time for me to make a breakthrough. After altering my body for 7 days and 7 nights, it's about time to see just how strong he is." With regards to his current body, Long Fei was filled with anticipation. Chapter 1888, Upgrading. Chapter 1888, Upgrading 7-Star Sect. 7 peaks towered into the sky, corresponding to the Big Dipper in the night sky. The 7-Star Sect got his name from this. The moonlight was like silver as it scattered down onto the ground. The 7-Star Peak was like 7 heaven pillar that corresponded to the sky with incomparable might. What do you think is in the sky? What a big bird. Shoot it down. We have it for supper tonight. Brother, aim for me. At this moment, a disciple said lightly, "This bird looks a little familiar. I've seen it somewhere before." Suddenly, the man slapped his thigh and shouted, "What kind of bird is this? It's a fucking flying crane." Flying crane. Long Fei. Long Fei, it's Long Fei. Hurry and report to the sect master. Long Fei is here. Immediately, the entire 7-Star Sect was in chaos, like a pot of porridge. In just a short half a minute, all the disciples of the 7 Stars Peak had rushed out. Devil Island had too many rumors about Long Fei now. Not die, indestructible, control time. The son of the devil was a branch of the Destiny God Hall, and they were more clear of Long Fei's terror. When they heard about the flying crane flying over, the 7-Star Sect was so frightened that he immediately sat on the ground and shouted, "Inform the great clan elder of the Destiny God Hall immediately. Quick, quick, quick. Get the great clan elder to send out the Holy General. The others follow me out to meet the enemy." All of a sudden, the 7-Star Peak disciples surged. Long Fei descended from the flying crane and looked at the surrounding disciples of the 7-Star Sect. One of the clan elders bellowed, "Long Fei, what are you doing here?" Long Fei laughed coldly. "Do you know how to pay for it?" The elder's eyes grew sinister as he said, "What account?" "Our 7-Star Sect has nothing to do with you. What account do we have? You better leave. Otherwise, when Holy General arrives, you won't be able to leave." Long Fei laughed. "You must be disciples of the 7-Star Sectess that are chasing and killing me, right? Surrounded and annihilated the God-Rare Sect. Are there any disciples of your 7-Star Sect? Tell me, do I have any accounts to settle?" The elder shouted, Are you involved in this matter? Long Fei said, That's right. I am here to cause trouble. And I like to cause trouble. I especially like to settle accounts. An elder suddenly moved. He secretly launched a sneak attack and thrusted his sword at Long Fei. His speed was extremely fast. Under the night sky, it was as if stars were twinkling. Buzz, buzz, buzz. Long Fei stood in place without moving an inch. The long sword was still half a meter away from him, and a Buddhist light automatically emanated from Long Fei's body. The Buddhist light formed a light shield and directly shattered the longsword. The elder was also sent flying. Long Fei's eyes widened as he exclaimed in his heart, Fuck, an automatic defense system. He didn't even try to control his own strength. His aura automatically defended him, completely not under his control. If he was in danger, it would automatically spring out. This kind of defense was the real deal. Looks like my body has been perfectly modified. What else is there to be proud of? Long Fei muttered. He rushed forward and clenched his fists tightly and said, Come at me, all of you. Buddhist light exploded. Long Fei's body was wrapped in Buddhist light. The Holy Buddha was constantly releasing light from his body. As though his entire body was covered with lightning, he charged into the crowd and crazily crushed everything. This feeling was too refreshing. Rumble! 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 Long Fei did not show the slightest bit of mercy. The way they had chased after the Bawanghua and the others back then, Long Fei needed 10 times or even 100 times the usual methods to return them. The slaughter continued crazily. Ding, ding, ding. The system beep as echoed crazily. 2 hours later. Ding. Congratulations to player Long Fei for leveling up. 7-star sect. There was only one sect master left who was struggling on his last breath. Long Fei, don't kill me. Don't kill me. I won't dare to oppose you anymore. I will immediately draw a clear line between myself and the Destiny God's palace. The 7-star sect lord was incomparably afraid. Compared to when he was in Xianyang sect, Long Fei was much stronger now. Long Fei smiled slightly. You're regretting it now? Too late. The 7-star sect lord said, Long Fei, you won't have a good ending even if you kill me. Jiu Qianmo will not let you go. The Destiny God will not let you go. Moreover, you won't be able to kill me. The Destiny God will grant me endless life. I will revive once more. Oh, is that so? Then Lousy will see how you revive. Long Fei sneered and struck out with a palm. A powerful Buddhist seal was blasted out. The drop of blood on the 7-star sect lord's head fell to the ground. Ding. Congratulations to player Long Fei for killing 7-star sect lord for obtaining 190,000 experience, 19,000 holy power value, and 1 metamorphic energy value. Congratulations to player Long Fei for obtaining 7-star sword. Congratulations to player Long Fei for obtaining 7-star sword art. Congratulations to player Long Fei for obtaining. Release your metamorphic energy value. 7-star sword technique. Long Fei did not hesitate to choose sword techniques because his current goal was to bring up the level increase of the blasting fist. The more powerful the sword technique, the more experience he would have. Ding. Congratulations to player Long Fei for obtaining 7 stars sword god. Do you wish to cultivate it? Devour. Long Fei moved. Ding. System notification. Blasting Fist has gained 10,000 experience points. And then Long Fei moved through the air and landed on one of the 7 stars peaks, Hidden Wu's Peak S, walking into the Kung Fu storage pavilion. He swallowed them one by one. The Blasting Fist's experience points was increasing bit by bit. Blasting Fist. Whoever sees it, I don't believe that they won't kill any Bulsh *T, holy general. Long Fei continued to devour the cultivation techniques of the Kung Fu storage pavilion. He firmly believed that the blasting fist could destroy everything in an instant, including gods. However, it had yet to reach that level. 2 days later, in another sect of the 10 sects, blood flowed like a river. Long Fei leveled up one more level and stepped into the 3rd level of Black Star Realm, once again devouring all the cultivation techniques and martial skills in the sect. 3 days later, another sect was destroyed. In just a short span of 1 month, all of 9 major sects had been killed by Long Fei alone, and their levels rose from Black Star's 1st level to Black Star's 9th level. Moreover, his blasting fist's experience points had reached 99%. He was just a little bit away from leveling up to level 5. Rumble! Inside a secret room in the Destiny Gods Hall. Ha ha ha! Ha ha ha! Zhu Tianma laughed wildly. Success! Your father has finally succeeded in cultivating it. Long Fei, your end is here. He closed up for a month. Zhu Tianma brought out the power that the Destiny God had given him to the fullest extent of his realm. Infinite revival. Venus Peak realm. The current Zhu Tianma could be said to be the #1 existence of the Devil Island. The instant he came out of seclusion, his body was wrapped in a spiral of the Wheel of Destiny, an extremely powerful magic tool used to reap the fate wheel. Chapter 1889. Devil Island's Boundary Point. Chapter 1889. Devil Island's boundary point. During this 1 month, Long Fei had not stopped his slaughter. It could be said, aside from the Destiny God Palace, all of the rest of Devil Island had been turned upside down by Long Fei alone. They were all wiped dry. Now, only the Destiny God Palace remained. It was also the strongest power in the Devil Island. Destiny God Palace. Following the loud sound of Zhu Tianma coming out of seclusion, the Destiny God Palace trembled. Immediately, countless elders from various sects rushed up and rushed into Zhu Tianma's courtyard. Seeing Zhu Tianma's appearance, they were all shocked. The King Kong Iron Bone was like a dried-up corpse. Her eyes were cold. Every part of his body was emitting the power of destiny. And the spiral fate wheel that could be seen with the naked eye made it impossible for anyone to approach him. The appearance completely changed. Who is this person? Is it the great clan elder? How did you become such a ghost? Is he a human or a ghost? The 3 clan elders muttered. When they looked up at Zhu Tianma again, they suddenly felt a chill on their backs. Boom! Boom! 3 loud bangs. Did not even move the slightest bit. With just his aura alone, he had instantly killed 3 powerhouse of the Black Star Peak realm. This power, it was incomparably terrifying. It was also at this time, the expressions of all the elders in the courtyard changed. They immediately knelt on the ground and said in unison, "Welcome out, First Elder. Welcome out, Grand Elder. Welcome out, Grand Elder." His voice was deafening. Zhu Tianma laughed sinisterly. Woo, 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 woo. Where is Long Fei now? Exiting from seclusion, the first person he wanted to kill was Long Fei. The Destiny God had turned him into this kind of unhuman, ghost or not, all because of Long Fei. He wanted Long Fei to pay the price. One of the elders immediately spoke up. "Great Elder, during the month of your seclusion, Long Fei annihilated the remaining 8 great sections. His cultivation had also reached the 9th stage of the Black Star Realm, and, compared to a month ago, his power has become even stronger. Humph! No matter how powerful I am, I won't be as strong as him." Zhu Tianma's lips curled up. He now possessed the same limitless resurrection power as the Holy General, and this alone was enough to cripple Long Fei 10,000 times. Yes, yes, yes. The elder immediately echoed. Zhu Tianma asked, "Where is he now?" This. He never showed up when the 8 great sects were annihilated, but the God Rare Sect is his nest. He should be in the God Rare Sect. The elder said. Zhu Tianma laughed coldly and said, "All right, pass down my orders, gather all the disciples of the Destiny God Palace, and bring the Holy General along as well. In an hour, go to God Rare Sect. Long Fei, I swear to the heavens, I will not let you escape." All of the elders shouted, "As you command." Long Fei did not return to the God Rare Sect. Ba Wanghua and the rest were all training in the Devil Temple. There was no point in him going back alone. After exterminating the 8 great sects, Long Fei went straight towards the east, riding the flying crane all the way to the east. He wanted to see the limit of the Devil Island. He wanted to see if there was really a huge barrier blocking the way. The flying crane flew tens of millions of kilometers every day for 10 days, yet it still did not see the end of the line. Could it be that the Devil Island is a type of spatial shackle? There was no end to it. Is it impossible to find the edge? Long Fei's heart was locked on the inside as he asked, "Uncle Destroyer, do you know where the boundary is?" Desperate Man shook his head. "I have never been in the future." Long Fei looked at him and said, "My mother should have come over, right?" Desperate Man glanced at Long Fei, and after pondering for a moment, he said, "Master had once disappeared for a month on a flying crane, but I don't know where he actually went." "Huh." Long Fei moved and asked the flying crane, "Divine bird, do you know its boundary?" The flying crane released a sharp cry filled with fear, as if it was afraid. He was this #1 war beast. Fear nothing. But now he was actually afraid. Long Fei's heart trembled, and he immediately said, "You know where the boundary is, right? And there are powerful creatures guarding the border, right?" The flying crane screamed again. Long Fei muttered, "As expected." And then Long Fei gently caressed the flying crane's neck and said slightly, "Bring us there." The flying crane slightly trembled. Long Fei continued, "Don't be afraid. I'll take care of everything." The flying crane spread its wings and moved. Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. His wings whistled as he increased his speed, once again rushing in another direction. Devil Island was the Forsaken God realm. He specially exiled some people who displeased the gods, and some places where some of the stronger families in ancient holy battlefield abandoned some people, such as Wang Tai. He was being tested as a monster by his people. Abandoned. The Devil Island was also like a cage. It was an incomparably large cage. Without a boundary, it was impossible to break through. Since the establishment of Devil Island, only one person had managed to break through the shackles. This person was Flying Goddess and also Long Fei's mother. How did she manage to break through the shackles? Even the Desperate Man did not know. Long Fei was even more clueless. However, Long Fei believed that since his mother could think of a way to leave, she must have also left him a clue and left. "I will definitely leave this place. I will definitely save you. I will definitely trample this world beneath my feet. From now on, no one can hurt you." Long Fei swore again and again in his heart. The separation of the soul. The secret of his mother's disappearance. Hidden secrets of the dragon race. There were many things that had no answer, and he needed to solve them one by one. 3,330,000 years. Who was controlling this catastrophe? Main Temple? They didn't have that kind of strength. Even sovereigns wouldn't be able to control the heavens. Mother's whereabouts, the location of the souls of Jojo, and the others. All of this was waiting for Long Fei to solve it. The first step was to break through the limits of Devil Island. Boom, boom. Suddenly, the waves rolled like thunder by his ears. The flying crane could not stop. Long Fei regained his composure, looked into the distance with both eyes, then slowly raised his head and looked upwards. In the end, he looked up with an aghast expression, and his voice trembled slightly. This is the border point of the Devil Island. Damn! The heck! Two enormous statues, tens of thousands of meters into the clouds. The two statues were dressed in armor and wielding axes. One of their palms was pointed in the direction of the Devil Island, indicating for them to stay put. This was secondary. The key point was this huge statue had a flowing light on its body, which was like flowing water covering its entire body. Long Fei had seen this light before. It was God's light. Chapter 1890, Initiation of Self-Destruct Devices. Chapter 1890, Initiation of Self-Destruct Devices. Gudong. Long Fei swallowed his saliva heavily. His mind, his sea of consciousness, and every part of his body was being crushed. Desperate Man was the same. The flying crane swayed nonstop, as if it couldn't hold on for much longer. There were only two statues. However, it could create an incomparably huge pressure that prevented people from getting close to it. Long Fei frowned. Is this the border point? Behind the statue is ancient holy battlefield. Desperate Man immediately said, "Young master, don't act recklessly." The flying crane also continuously cried out, "Gudong." Long Fei once again swallowed his saliva dry and lightly said, "Since it's here, if you don't act recklessly, how will you know how strong it is?" If he didn't submit, he would just do it. Since he was already here, if he didn't give it a try, how would he know? Desperate Man was shocked. She wanted to go forward to pull Long Fei, but Long Fei had already taken a step forward. "Young lord," Long Fei said, "don't move from here, I'll be right back." Buzz. The power of the 9th stage of the Black Star realm completely exploded. The body of Long Fei was filled with Buddhist light, and the body of the strong half of the Son of God was forced out. The closer he got, the more uncomfortable he felt, just like the bottom of the sea, which was tens of thousands of meters deep. He felt as if he was going to explode under the immense pressure. He was getting closer and closer to the statue. All the hairs on Long Fei's body stood on end as he looked at the world behind the sculpture, which was shrouded in a dense fog. That should be the ancient holy battlefield. Ah! Long Fei roared. He exerted all his strength and rushed forward. In front of the huge statue, Long Fei was like a small ant. The waves of the sea rolled, and thunder rumbled. There was still a distance of 100 meters between him and the sculpture, causing Long Fei to be unable to withstand it. Poochie! A mouthful of blood sprayed out. However, he did not stop and kept moving forward. At this time, it was as if there was a giant boulder crushing down on his mind, and his heartbeat became much slower. One step, two steps, one more step. Powerful forces stopped him. Clenching his fists tightly, veins bulged all over his body as he growled in a deep voice, "No one can stop my steps." Boom! He took another step forward. When he was still 10 meters away from the statue, his body was already dripping with blood. However, he was unable to move forward even a little because he was stopped by an invisible and colorless force. His hands gently moved forward. Buzz. He touched the barrier. At this moment, the barrier released a beam of light, which quickly spread out. In the blink of an eye, it covered hundreds of millions of kilometers, and in that instant, the entire Devil Island was shaken because of it. The halo of light enveloped the entire Devil Island. What's that? Why is there a light in the sky? What is it? It has never appeared before. What is it? It seems to be a powerful force flying over. Could it be the power of a certain powerhouse? There were discussions everywhere in Devil Island, whether it was warriors or ordinary citizens. All of them were standing on the streets, discussing this phenomenon because they had never seen it before. God, rare sect, Devil Temple. The two old monks raised their eyes, and a trace of fear flashed through their empty eyes. Then, an old monk quickly walked into the Devil Temple. The other person opened the time gate and instantly disappeared from the spot. Grand Elder, why is there a halo in the sky? Could it be that it's Long Fei's doing again? Impossible. Zhu Tianma also saw the halo of light that appeared in the sky, and his brows furrowed slightly as he said faintly, "It seems to be a barrier, and also seems to be the activation of some sort of formation." Never mind that. Our goal right now is to kill Long Fei. Buzz. The halo shot out from one end and back again from the other. It covered the entire Devil Island. Long Fei could see very clearly that this huge halo of light was like a blue dome of heaven that enveloped the entire Devil Island. Long Fei had watched a United States TV series in his previous life, Under the Dome. That's what it means. However, when the light beam shot back from the other side and landed in front of the two gigantic statues, in that moment, Long Fei's body that was floating in mid-air suddenly dropped down. He was crushed by a powerful force above his head. Boom! Puffed! It directly smashed into the surface of the sea and broke all the bones in Long Fei's forelimbs. The huge waves on the surface of the sea were also instantly crushed away. The sea surface was sinking, not because the water was shallow, but because it was being crushed by a powerful force. Rumble! 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 The entire sky above Devil Island began to emit violent rumbles. The dome was descending. A powerful force was crushing everything. Long Fei climbed up from the sea surface and watched the sky suddenly change as the power of the goddess light that was flowing from the two giant statues continued to flow into the barrier. What had I accidentally activated just now? Based on this trend, I'm afraid the Devil Island's self-destruct mechanism was activated. The dome descended. Long Fei was at the furthest point from the dome. So even if it was him, he would not be able to withstand that surge of energy. If the dome were to fall down to this level, everything on Devil Island will be turned into ashes. F***CK. Sovereign, this self-destruct technique of yours is too damn hateful. Long Fei cursed in his heart. Who would have thought that just by touching the barrier lightly, it would become like this? In that instant, the entire Devil Island was in a crisis, but they had not yet sensed that the dome was descending. If they had felt it, the entire Devil Island would have fallen into panic. Life and death were like a river of blood. This move was simply too ruthless. Purify everything. There must be a way. There must be a way to stop the dome from descending. My mother must have come here. She must have touched the barrier. Why didn't she descend then? Long Fei quickly thought about it. And then Long Fei's heart trembled and thought to himself, it's not that there's no decline, but it's because Mother used some kind of power to stop it. What kind of power? What kind of power is it? Long Fei was a little anxious. Although he hated the Devil Island and wanted to leave the place, there were still over 1 billion commoners living here. Being exiled in a place like this was already very tragic. But now they were all going to die. This was too cruel. Long Fei stared at the two gigantic statues. His fists sank. Rumble, rumble. His arms released a loud sound and then started burning red. You are the source of power. Then I'll blast the two of you to death first. Blasting fist. Chapter 1891. Devil Island is finished. Chapter 1891. Devil Island is finished. blasting fist. As long as it hit the target, it could instantly kill everything. The sovereign's might on the sculpture was the energy source of the dome. As long as the sculpture was destroyed, the dome would naturally shatter, and even the barrier that sealed the Devil Island would be destroyed along with it. This way, there would be no more restrictions on the Devil Island. Ah! Long Fei roared, all the power in his body converging together. His eyes were locked. With a deep roar, he shouted, "Blasting fist!" His fists moved. He threw his left and right fists towards the two statues. 10 streams of light were released from his fists. 50 to 50% of the time, they condensed into 2 streams of supernatural power that rumbled across the sky. Long Fei looked at the 2 streams of light. He was not sure if they could hit his heart. However, as long as he could hit it, he believed that he would definitely be able to destroy it. Yes, we have to hit. Long Fei prayed in his heart. Rumble, rumble, rumble. The power of the blasting fist exploded in midair, striking the dome barrier. It did not pierce through. Long Fei's mind tensed up. Can't we attack? Wasn't blasting fist able to instantly kill whoever it locked on? Why not? System, damn you! He cursed in his heart. If there was such an easy way to break through the dome barrier, then his mother would have gone out when she was here. There wouldn't have been any ascension afterwards. Long Fei was also mentally prepared. However, he just couldn't accept it. However, the moment the blasting fist struck the dome's barrier pressed down fiercely once again, and the speed of its descent became even faster. Long Fei's body that was in mid-air exploded again. Rumble! He hit the surface of the sea hard and spat out a mouthful of black blood. Long Fei gritted his teeth until it made a cracking sound. If the people on the Devil Island didn't sense the energy descending from the sky at the start, then this time, all the people on the Devil Island felt it. Not just humans. The demon beast in the mountain range did the same as well. They roared crazily, roared and scattered in all directions, as if something big was about to happen. What's going on? Why is the earth shaking? The sky is pressing down. What happened? Rumble. The ground is sunken. Hurry up and dodge. On the street, a huge crater suddenly appeared. Within the mountain range, a volcano erupted and thick smoke billowed. At the seaside, the huge wave that was hundreds of meters high came crashing over. A natural calamity unfolded at this moment, and the entire Devil Island sank into endless turmoil. First Elder, what happened? The entire Devil Island is trembling. I've never done this before. What's going on? The great army of the Destiny God Palace that was rushing to God Rare Sect was affected as well. The sky was pressed down, and the earth trembled as a similar aura pervaded the air. Zhu Tianma frowned and thought in his heart, could it be that the powerhouse God of Destiny that God of Destiny was talking about has arrived? Was it the result of the appearance of the powerhouse? That's not right. The people sent by the God of Destiny will easily enter the Devil Island. They would not make such a big move. Who exactly is it? Zhou Tianma looked at the sky. With his current cultivation level, he could clearly feel a huge force descending from the sky. It was as if a layer of sky was pressing down on him. And then Zhou Tianma moved slightly and said, "You guys stay put. I'll be right back." The power of the Venus Peak realm exploded. Shua! Zhou Tianma soared into the sky. I would like to see what kind of power the heavens actually possess. Zhou Tianma was disdainful in his heart, but when he flew to the edge of the dome's barrier, his mind shook. A barrier? What is this? Zhou Tianma was floating 10 kilometers in the air, and he could feel that barrier pressing down on him bit by bit. His eyes turned sinister. I don't care what you are. The Devil Island is mine. As soon as he finished, Jiu Qianma's palms moved and struck out heavily. Rumble! An extremely strong power of destiny was released, and the moment it smashed onto the dome, Jiu Qianma smiled complacently. Right now, I am invincible in Devil Island. Before he could finish his words, a force shot back from the dome and hit him. Boom! Jiu Qianma's body fell down from the sky. He landed heavily on the ground, and his body split open, turning into a pile of meat paste. Blood splattered all over the ground. The surrounding people were all dumbfounded. Great Elder! Great Elder! He died before he could even get to the God Rare sect, and Jiu Qianma was beaten into a pile of meat paste. However, at this moment, Jiu Qianma's body reassembled and revived. He used to feel great about this feeling, but when his body was assembled, the pain was unbearable, and he understood the fear of death in his heart. Grand Elder, what happened just now? A few elders surrounded him. Jiu Qianma's face was pale, his eyes staring at the sky. He said, Devil Island. It's going to be destroyed. What? Is the Devil Island going to be destroyed? Could it be that the God of Destiny wants to bring us away? Although the Devil Island is not as big as the size of the ancient holy battlefield, it is still bigger than any lower plane of existence. How could it be destroyed? Jiu Qianma could personally feel the power within the dome. The further the dome descended, the closer the Devil Island got to being destroyed. He didn't explain too much, because once he told everyone what he knew, the Destiny God Palace would probably be thrown into chaos. Immediately, Jiu Qianma said, Wait for me here. I will go to the secret hall and ask God of Destiny. He will definitely give us his answer. His heart was filled with fear. If the Devil Island was destroyed, it would be useless for him to revive, and he would disappear as well. Without waiting for the elders to react, Jiu Qianma immediately turned into a ray of light and returned to the Destiny God Palace. Dozens of stunned elders were left behind. Main temple. Who activated the Devil Island's self-destruct mechanism? The unusual energy in the Devil Island is getting stronger and stronger. What is going on up there? Why is there still the aura of the Holy Buddhahood's power? What kind of people are on this island? God of Destiny, shouldn't you explain why there is a Destiny God Palace, and why there is a person whose life will has been peeled off and is being resurrected? The barrier covering the Devil Island was activated, and all the gods inside the main temple felt it immediately, even though this was the forbidden land of the gods. However, the Devil Island was a very special existence. Destiny God smiled slightly. Isn't the activation of the self-destruct mechanism on Devil Island very good? Didn't all of you want the Devil Island to be destroyed? It's fine now. We don't need to do it ourselves. Let them fend for themselves. It's their choice. Ha ha ha. Destiny God started laughing, but in his heart he was actually extremely excited. Billions of life forms, billions of souls, my soul vault can be completely filled. Chapter 1892, Limitless Blasting Fist. Chapter 1892, Limitless Blasting Fist, one of the gods said. But there are countless living creatures on the Devil Island, and billions of civilians. Even if the people on the Devil Island are evil, they are innocent. Ha ha ha. Lord God of Life, I find your compassion laughable in our eyes. Is there anyone else in this world? They're just a bunch of ants. Lord Life God, don't forget how you became the God of Life. You used slaughter to obtain the God's position. Now you pity a bunch of ants. How laughable! Destiny God laughed in disdain. The Life God's gaze tightened as he said, Destiny God, what do you mean? Destiny God sneered and said, What I mean is let them die. The gods looked at each other. The Destiny God said, We are gods, but How do we get the divine seat? It's not through compassion. A strange energy fluctuation appeared in the Devil Island as the self-destruct dome activated. This is the fate of the Devil Island. It was arranged by the Lord God, and no one can change it. All we can do now is watch carefully. His heart was also extremely shocked. He never thought that the sovereign would install a self-destruct mechanism on the Devil Island. If he could instantly acquire billions of souls. Destiny God was extremely excited. The soul great art he cultivates can break through to the peak realm, and also, most importantly, Long Fei would also die on the Devil Island, and his soul wouldn't be able to escape either. The gods fell silent. The Devil Island's self-destruct mechanism could only be closed by the sovereign. If the sovereign did not shut it down, then why would they act? The Destiny God said, "Right now, our main temple has the absolute advantage. The evil God palace's power is gradually weakening, and we will eventually become immortal gods. A god should have the appearance of a god. Everything in Devil Island is fated. Destiny that cannot be avoided. Who would care about a forsaken godland? God, why would he care about the lives of commoners? To them, they were only concerned about the strange energy fluctuations in the Devil Island because they were gods and they wanted to control everything in their hands. No power beyond their control was allowed to appear because this was the world they ruled. It used to be, it is now, and it will be the same in the future. People should not kill themselves. Deities were the same. Boundary point, power of transcendence, fuse, boom, ding, system notification. Blasting Fist has leveled up, currently at level 5, named Limitless Blasting Fist. The fusion of the Super Divine Arts directly raised the level of the Blasting Fist. The Blasting Fist leveled up, and the cooldown was completed in an instant. Technique, Blasting Fist, Everlasting Realm, level 5 cooldown, 12 hours description. The power of Yin and Yang has entered a new mode in the Blasting Fist. Looking at the Blasting Fist in the system, the attributes had completely changed. The cooldown time was reduced by half, and the Hurricane Burst Boxing had also become an infinite Blasting Fist. Huff! Long Fei looked at the dome that was descending unceasingly, and his heart was filled with unwillingness. Again! This time it was not the statue that was locked, but the dome barrier. Hoo. Long Fei approached again, and finally stared at the barrier from a distance of less than half a meter each, his fists sinking. Boom, 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 boom. 4 consecutive explosions sounded out from Long Fei's arm, just like Lu Fei's 4 moves. Both of his arms were scarlet red and black. His energy and flames were burning crazily. His arms were trembling crazily, and his energy was surging crazily. Long Fei stared at the barrier with a sinister look in his eyes as he shouted, He clenched his fists. Under his fist, the power of Yin and Yang was rotating rapidly. It was surging, and it seemed to have sucked away all the power within 1,000,000 kilometers in an instant. I don't believe it. Limitless Blasting Fist. At this moment, not far behind Long Fei, the time door suddenly opened. The old monk rushed out and shouted, "Long Fei, stop!" The old monk frowned. Seeing Long Fei raise both fists, her face was shocked. Too late. He was half a step too late. Long Fei's fists had already been thrown out. It slammed into the dome's barrier. Kacha! Rumble! Ka! Rumble! Yin-yang formless energy exploded against the dome's barrier. The barrier was like lightning, densely packed, and dense, covering half of the barrier. From afar, it looked like the sky had split open. The entire Devil Island was shaken. Heavens! Heavens! The sky is splitting apart. The sky is about to split open. What's that? Oh my God! The power of the limitless sword was beyond Long Fei's imagination, and it was as if his arms could not take it any longer. The moment he smashed into the barrier, even if he was alive, he could still clearly feel the energy aura inside the barrier. However, seeing that the dome had cracked, Long Fei became excited. It's cracked, right? I'll take your life while you're sick. First stage of the Purple Sun Divine Power. Purple Sun Heaven Shine. Open for me. Boom. The purple flames on Long Fei's body combusted, balls after balls of flames surging all over his body. His pair of pupils became purple, and wherever his line of sight went, the purple flames would wildly burn. Second stage of the Purple Sun Divine Power. Purple Sun Buddha, open. Rumble. 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 There was a huge explosion in the sky, and Tathagata, Lord of Buddha, appeared above Long Fei's head. The Buddhist light spanned tens of thousands of meters, and Long Fei's physical body also felt an endless pressure. Although his body had transformed and became stronger, he still had the power of half of Son of God. However, the endurance of the Purple Sun Buddha was still a little too strong. Long Fei felt that it was extremely difficult. However, the protective screen cracked. If this wasn't the right time, when did it just happen? The old monk shouted again. Long Fei, stop! One step landed behind Long Fei. At this moment, the two enormous statues seemed to have come to life, and the sovereign's might flowing in their eyes suddenly increased, staring directly at the old monk. Boom! The old monk was knocked back thousands of meters. In an instant, Long Fei turned around to look at him and said, I must destroy it. Tathagata, the Purple Sun Buddha moved, slashing on the cracked barrier. Rumble! 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 The barrier cracked once again, and the cracks became even stronger. Again. Rumble! Another palm struck down. Kacha! Kacha! The barrier continued to crack, and the cracks in all directions were like flames burning through the sky. The sky started to crack and shatter, as if a calamity had descended upon the world. However, the more Long Fei smashed down, the heavier his heart became. It wasn't because of the force of the barrier. Rather, he saw a pair of incomparably malevolent eyes from the crack. Not a sovereign, but it was even more savage than a sovereign. But it had already come to this, and Long Fei had no other choice. He wanted to break the seal on the Devil Island, and he wanted to bring everyone from the Devil Island out of the Devil Island. Everyone had the qualifications to enter the ancient holy battlefield, and everyone had the qualifications to change their fates. Long Fei stared at the cracks on the dome, his palms striking out again. Blood dripped from the corner of the old monk's mouth as he shouted, We're finished! Chapter 1893. Lousy Born to Kill. Chapter 1893. Lousy Born to Kill, the prophecy is true. The old monk's empty eyes filled with horror. When Long Fei threw out the punch, the old monk rushed forward recklessly. I don't believe it. Since it had already come to this, Long Fei had no other choice. From the very first day he entered the Devil Island, he had been looking forward to leaving this place. He wanted to enter the ancient holy battlefield as soon as possible, so that he could obtain the power to change the world as soon as possible. Now, the dome's barrier had shattered, and the sky was covered with cracks. It was definitely going to be broken. That way he could leave. If he could enter the ancient holy battlefield, he could change everything, and he could save Jojo and the others. Long Fei looked at the crack, staring at the two fierce eyes inside, and roared, Break for me! The power of the Purple Sun Buddha once again exploded. Both of Long Fei's palms moved, striking towards the cracks. The enormous Buddhist light palm descended heavily the moment the barrier hit the dome. It began to shake like a massive wave. A deafening sound of thunder could be heard coming from the cracks, as if time and space had split apart. The cracks grew larger and larger. The center was pitch black, but it could fit a person inside. Is that the ancient holy battlefield outside the crevice? Are you the ancient holy battlefield outside of Devil Island? Long Fei was extremely excited, looking at the pitch-black crevice, as if he was tempted by something. He unconsciously took a step forward. I'm leaving. I'm going to leave this cage. Jojo, Qian Qian, Luo Shi, I'm coming to save you guys. Grandfather, big uncle, brothers of the Long family, I'm coming. Long Fei's eyes flashed with desire. I really want to leave here. His purpose for entering the ancient holy battlefield was to turn over the entire destiny god to save his family. Now, he was only one step away. Huff! Long Fei heaved a heavy sigh, looked at the pitch-black crevice, and took a step forward. At this moment, the old monk moved his finger, and a wave of light bound Long Fei. Long Fei took a step back into the air, as if he was taking another step forward. Not really. Rather, he was bound by the laws of time and returned to his original place. The old monk shouted, Long Fei, it is not the ancient holy battlefield in front of us, but the abyss. Damned monk, you dare to ruin my good fortune? I want you dead. In a split second, a huge pitch-black hand suddenly grabbed towards Long Fei from within the crevice. At the same time, a strong power roared out. The cracks in the sky flashed and turned into a black inferno. The entire sky above Devil Island began to change. Black flames. What's that? The sky is burning. What happened? The people on the Devil Island did not know. They had never seen such a scene before. Not only was the sky splitting apart, it was also burning with black flames. Not only the people from the Devil Island S, even the people from the main temple S trembled when they heard that. How could it be like this? What is that? They also did not know what the black flames were. He even didn't know what the hand that stretched out from the dark crack was. Does anyone know? What's inside the dark crack? Earth God, do you not know? Destiny God, you don't know either? No one in the hall knew what the things in the dark crack were, as they didn't have control over them. However, they could clearly feel that the gigantic being within the dark crack was extremely powerful, and an existence that could crush them. Destiny God looked at the sovereign's throne. The sovereign didn't appear. Destiny God thought to himself, this world is much stronger than I imagined, and the power of the sovereign is also much stronger than I imagined. He slightly retracted his gaze, and his heart tightened. It's just a pity, a soul that was even stronger than Mu Wanner disappeared in front of me. Long Fei was going to die. He could clearly see Long Fei's life will slipping away. This time, he would not be able to escape. The monsters in the dark crack were just too strong. As the black, gigantic hand grabbed over, Long Fei's expression darkened. What's that? Could it be that there's another monster inside the barrier? This is too cruel. Not waiting for him to finish. The huge black hand seemed about to grab him. At this moment, the old monk stepped in front of Long Fei, blocking his attack. The power of time. His hands quickly formed a seal. The power of the old monk burst out crazily, forming a huge space of time. Zhang Xian's eyes darkened. The old monk's eyes flashed with a bright light as he shouted, Time seal, open! At the same time, the old monk said, Long Fei, quickly run! Buzz. The power of time exploded, enveloping the entire dark crack. In an instant, the giant black palm suddenly became sluggish. Time slowed down. Everything in the space slowed down as time passed, and the seal held on to everything. However, The old monk struggled to hold on as his body trembled rapidly. His face also became paler and paler. Power of time? The time laws again. Humph! 1,000 years ago, a little girl escaped, but this time, I want all of you time controllers to die here. A manic voice sounded from the darkness. He was extremely angry. 1,000 years ago was the same as now. He, who was in the dark crack, almost came out, but because of the power of time, his seal was stopped once again. But this time, he would definitely not be hit by the seal again. Moreover, this time, the power of time compared to the last time was completely different. This kind of power of time could no longer bind him. The pair of eyes shining with a cold light slightly widened in the darkness. Puffed, the old monk spat out a mouthful of black blood and shouted, "Long Fei, I told you to leave quickly. Did you not hear me?" He couldn't hold on any longer. His 1,000 years of waiting was also for Long Fei. He must protect Long Fei's life. Thus, he did not hesitate to use his own strength to raise the power of time to the maximum, but he clearly knew in his heart that with the power of time that he had cultivated, he was unable to stop the devil's seal inside. At most, they could only delay it for a little bit. However, as long as he could buy Long Fei some time, it would be enough. If Long Fei could return to the God-Rare sect, the Tian Shu would definitely take care of him. His mission was accomplished. All of this was a prediction, prophecy from 1,000 years ago. However, what was different from the prophecy was that Long Fei did not flee. He just stood there quietly, listening to the voice that came out from the darkness, and said slightly, "It seems that my mother once used to work in the seal, you know. My mother is kind-hearted and can't bear to hurt others. I'm different. I was born to kill. Third stage of the Purple Sun Divine Power, open for me." Chapter 1894, Heavenly Emperor of the Purple Sun. Chapter 1894, Heavenly Emperor of the Purple Sun, still no escape. Desperate man gave her life for him, but Long Fei did not run. The powerful monk that swept the ground was now risking his life for him, but Long Fei still did not run. He would not let anyone die for him. Even if he was going to die, he would die first. The aura on Long Fei's body suddenly moved. The system emitted a red light. Ding! System notification. The level of the player is too low, unable to withstand the third stage of the Purple Sun Divine Power. Ding! System notification. The level of the player is too low, unable to withstand the third stage of the Purple Sun Divine Power. Ding! System notification. The level of the player is too low, unable to withstand the third stage of the Purple Sun Divine Power. A crazy notification sound rang, and it was flashing red, which meant that it wasn't a hint, but an alarm. The last time he forcefully activated the Purple Sun Buddha, he had almost torn Long Fei's body apart. Although his physical body had been strengthened, he still felt that it was difficult to open the Purple Sun Buddha right now. What was the third level? How strong would he need? Long Fei didn't know, but he was clear that the third stage of the Purple Sun Divine Power was definitely very, very strong. If he did not open it, Sweeping Monk would die. Thus, Long Fei was fearless. The aura on his body suddenly changed, and the power of the purple flames began to gather bit by bit. It was incomparably painful, but Long Fei could feel an endless amount of power. Sweeping Monk looked at Long Fei. His gaze tightened and said, "Brat, don't mess around." Long Fei grinned and said, "The reason why my mother didn't do it back then is because she left it for me to do. I don't care what he is. Anyone who moves from my side will die." Suddenly, Long Fei's body trembled crazily. His entire being seemed to have sunk into a state of insanity as he roared angrily towards the sky. Third stage of Purple Sun Divine Power, open for me. Buzz! A loud explosion resounded. A ray of purple light fell from the sky and exploded on Long Fei's body. At this moment, the power of time released by the sweeping monk was immediately dispersed. The pair of cold eyes from the dark crack turned cold, with a hint of astonishment. The third stage, Heavenly Emperor of the Purple Sun, open! As soon as he finished, the purple sun shone from Long Fei's body, and the image of a heavenly emperor descended. That kind of power, that incomparable momentum. Never felt it. It was as if everything was under his feet. It was as if he was the ruler of the world. Both of his eyes moved, staring at the black, gigantic hand that was rushing over. The spirit chi that erupted from Long Fei's body hacked out. Break for me! The purple sun, celestial emperor, made a move. Their auras were like a rainbow. It furiously slashed down. Crack! The giant black hand was chopped off by an aura. The monster inside the dark crack screamed out in pain, its two eyes staring straight at Long Fei. Long Fei was also staring at him, and said solemnly, Come again. Come on. He howled with incomparable arrogance. However, the monster in the darkness did not move again. It only let out a cold laugh and said, Brat, I will remember this grudge about losing your arm. This time, consider yourself lucky, but one's luck is not always so good. The next time we meet will be your death. While they were talking, the pair of cold eyes were staring behind Long Fei, for people stood behind Long Fei, for holy monks. Long Fei said angrily, Why wait for the next time? Come right now. From the darkness came a series of cold laughs, which gradually faded away. At the same time, the huge aura of the dark crack disappeared. The dark crack became empty and slowly healed. The black flames in the sky slowly disappeared, as did the crevices. It was as if everything had returned to its original state. However, the dome was still falling. He kept pressing down. Long Fei could clearly feel it. However, the moment the monster disappeared from the dark crack, Long Fei's body suddenly split open. Bang! The blood vessels burst. Bam! 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 The meridians in his entire body were broken once again. Blood gushed out from his body, and his body could not stand still. He fell from the sky. He couldn't withstand the power of the purple sun, celestial emperor. His body couldn't support it either. And in that instant, he used the power of the purple sun, heavenly emperor. The 3 million holy power value in his body was instantly emptied, and he no longer had the slightest bit of additional holy power value. He fell from the sky. The system beeped. Ding! Congratulations to player Long Fei for obtaining mysterious item. A mysterious item. The system did not say what it was. Long Fei also did not have the strength to check, so he slightly closed his eyes. His eyelids felt like they weighed 10,000 kilograms and could not be lifted at all as he slowly closed them. However, the instant he closed his eyes, the figure of the first Tian Shu of 4 holy monks appeared in front of him and dragged him down. And then Long Fei was unconscious. Long Fei! Long Fei! Young lord! Young lord! After sweeping monks shouted a few times, Long Fei's entire body was covered in blood as if he had died. The Tian Shu frowned and said lightly, His body is about to collapse. Even with the protection of the god's immortal bead, he won't be able to take it. A look of fear appeared in sweeping monk's empty eyes as he asked anxiously, Will he die? At the same time, the sweeping monk anxiously said, The prophecy came true. He destroyed the protective barrier on the dome of the heavens and released the demons. He would also die, but he changed the prophecy again. Master Tian Shu, please save him. I am willing to use my life in exchange. The prophecy of 1,000 years ago. He would die. No matter how hard he tried to stop it, he would die. After living for 1,000 years, it had long since become dull. However, when the giant black hand slowly reached out towards him, he felt an inexplicable fear in his heart. Long Fei forcefully released the power in his body and cut off that huge hand. Long Fei saved him. As if he had just woken up from a dream, he looked at the Tian Shu god monk with pleading eyes. The Tian Shu looked at him and said, "Return to the Devil Temple first. If it really isn't possible, I'm afraid." He did not continue. The other three godly monks frowned. They knew what the Tian Shu was going to say. He didn't die. Boom. Destiny God's eyes turned sinister as a ray of light flashed across his eyes, directly smashing a stone table in front of him into fine powder. He was extremely unhappy in his heart. "Long Fei, I never thought that your life would be so tough. So angry, so angry." He thought that Long Fei was dead for sure, but he never thought that Long Fei was still alive. After a long time, the anger on Destiny God slowly faded, as he said coldly, "I have never seen anyone stronger than your fate wheel. With such a powerful fate wheel, just how strong is your soul? It's good if he doesn't die. My soul mandate lacks the soul of a person like you. What?" Destiny God laughed out wildly. "Your life will definitely be mine." Chapter 1895, Returning to the Holy Buddhahood. Chapter 1895, Returning to the Holy Buddhahood. Boom. 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 In the sky, thunder rumbled continuously under the dome. This was the sound of the dome's pressure. The dome continued to descend. Actually, 1,000 years ago, the dome had already started to descend due to Mu Wanner, but the speed of its descent was very slow. This time, Long Fei's strength caused the dome to descend even faster, so only Powerhouse would be able to sense him. The entire Devil Island was under the dome. If the dome came crashing down, the Devil Island would disappear from this world forever. Everything will perish. Destiny God Palace. Tens of thousands of disciples kneeled on the ground, and in the distance there were hundreds of thousands of civilians kneeling on the ground, begging for mercy. Destiny God will definitely bring us out of this place. He definitely won't give up on anyone. As long as everyone believes in the Destiny God and give up everything you have, the Destiny God will definitely be moved. He will lead us out of this sea of bitterness. When one is in despair, he or she fantasizes about everything. Faith was the only thing that could support them. Destiny God Hall had also become the only hope for Devil Island. All of this is caused by God Rare sex harm. He is the demon, and he is the sinner of the entire Devil Island. That's him. Long Fei will suffer for an eternity. Long Fei is an unpardonably evil demon. Amongst the worshipping crowd, countless of people were scolding Long Fei. Under the instigation of the disciples of the Destiny God, Long Fei became a demon on top of the Devil Island. Within the Fate Hall, Great Clan Elder, did the God of Destiny not give any instructions? The dome is still descending. In less than a month, we will be crushed into dust and disappear forever. Only Lord Fate can save us now. Hurry up and take us away. We are willing to be his slave for life, as long as he can let us live. Yes, Grand Elder, you are the Fate Envoy. Please help us. Grand Elder, I beg of you. A few white-haired elders directly knelt on the ground. They might not have knelt before in their lives, but in order to live, they no longer had any dignity. Jiu Qianma held his hands behind his back, and his brows knitted tightly. His heart was the same. He was also waiting for Destiny God to give him instructions, but it had already been a few days, and Destiny God seemed to have forgotten about them. However, Jiu Qianma did not give up. He had given his life, wheel, and soul to Destiny God. He believed that Destiny God would not give him up. At this time, An elder said, "Could it be that Destiny God is unhappy because we did not manage to catch Long Fei? That must be it. Long Fei this dog. We need sacrifices, and Long Fei is the best sacrifice. Great clan elder, please give me your orders. I am willing to be the vanguard and use all my power to capture Long Fei." Me too. As long as they were alive, they would do anything to make them eat **T. The longer one lived, the more afraid one would be of death. Zhu Tianma's eyes moved, and he said, "I'm going to the secret hall. Wait for me here." Finished. Zhu Tianma's figure disappeared. Within the secret hall, Zhu Tianma immediately knelt on the ground and begged, "God of Destiny, I need your guidance. Please save me." Destiny God remained unmoved. The 12 statues in the secret hall didn't move either. Zhu Tianma kowtowed again, and blood came out from his forehead. In the end, the Destiny God statue's eyes twitched. Zhu Tianma was overjoyed and immediately replied, "God of Destiny, I need a soul, a strong one. If you can capture Long Fei for me, I will free you from the sea of bitterness and grant you eternal life." In that instant, Zhu Tianma looked like he was on stimulants. He became excited and asked, "Really? Good, good, good. I will immediately go and catch Long Fei. This time, I will not let you down." Destiny God laughed coldly and said, "Go." God, rare sect, Devil Temple. The Tian Shu shook her head lightly, for Holy Monks was obviously a little tired. "No way. His body has already been destroyed to an irreparable state. Even if we use all of our saint force, we won't be able to cure him. Senior brother, we have done our best." Yes, we did our best. This might be his final destination. All of this is his own choice. Long Fei is completely out of his control. His prophecies have come true, but he has turned the tables on the future. No matter how powerful our divine abilities are, they will not be able to protect him. The other 3 monks slowly spoke. Right now, the dome above the Devil Island is descending more and more. There is only a month left, and the dome will devour the entire Devil Island. There's nothing we can do. The Tian Shu raised his eyes and looked at the 4 of them. Without waiting for him to speak, Tian Zhu immediately said, "No, we cannot bring him back to the Holy Buddhahood. We cannot get involved in any conflicts here." Tian Yuan immediately added, "That's right. Our appearing here is already in return for Benefactor Mu's kindness. If we were to bring Long Fei back to Holy Buddhahood as well, then our Holy Buddhahood would not be able to rest in peace." Tian Chong also said, "I also disagree. For Holy Monks, the 3 of them objected, because they were well aware of what kind of person Long Fei was, and what kind of fate he had. Not just main temple, just his background. It would be incomparably terrifying, and if it were to be provoked, the Holy Buddhahood would most likely be doomed. What did 100,000 planes count for? The truly powerful and feared forces that could crush 10 million planes were not even limited to main temple. Holy Buddhahood could not afford to offend him. They knew more than average people, and were even more clear about the fate and terrifying background that Long Fei had to bear. However, the Tian Shu let out a heavy breath and said, "The 100,000 godchildren of the plane are about to be born, and the Holy Buddhahood should be arriving soon. We promised Benefactor Mu to protect Long Fei and save him 3 times. I should do what I promised. I want to bring him back to Holy Buddhahood." The Tian Shu said very seriously, "Everything is set in stone. Even if our Holy Buddhahood did not provoke any forces, I'm afraid we would have already been involved in this. A dispute over 100,000 planes. Disputes in the outside world. From the moment we accepted Benefactor Mu's help, we were involved." The Tian Shu said indifferently, Tianju said, "Senior brother, holy Buddhahood is a pure land. If a person with blood in his hands were to enter, that would only sully holy Buddhahood." The Tianshu did not say anything else, but said, "You all do not need to persuade me anymore. We owe him. We need to repay him. I have already decided. Go back to the holy Buddhahood." Chapter 1896, Devil's Hand. Chapter 1896, Devil's Hand to the four of them. The holy Buddhahood was the Western paradise, and was also a pure land. However, they had left for 1,000 years. What had happened during that time? They had no way of knowing. Long phase injuries were too severe, and had already exceeded the range of their treatment. They had promised Mu Wanner to save him thrice, and this was the second time, even though the three of them strongly opposed it, and the Tianshu still wanted to bring Long Fei back to the holy Buddhahood. "The three of you stay here and guard Devil Temple. I'll try to come back within a month." The Tianshu said a few words. Tianju and the other two sighed, saying, "Senior brother, is it really worth it for him?" The Tianshu said, "As long as you do what you want in this world, anything you do is worth it. Everything has its determinations." And then the Tianshu carried Long Fei on its back. Looking at his sleeping appearance, she said softly, "Hopefully, you can bring hope to this world." Wong. A buzzing sound was heard. The powerful Buddhist light on the Tianshu's body fiercely exploded. Boom! The dark devil temple radiated in all directions, shining upon the entire temple's interior. All of them were incomparably sinister demons, bearing their fangs and brandishing their claws, incomparably ugly, just like how the seal was still struggling in front of the wall. The Buddhist light shone for a while. The Tianshu stepped into the Buddhist light. Following that, her figure disappeared. Buzz. The devil temple regained its calm. The three great reverends let out a long sigh, looked at the endless darkness, and muttered, "Senior brother, I hope your decision is correct. Long Fei was never saved. If you want to save him, you need to use a Buddha root. If he, a person whose hands are filled with blood, fuse with a Buddha root, he is basically a person who is on a completely different path from the holy Buddhahood. This is secondary. The key thing is, the Buddha root is a treasure of the holy Buddhahood. Will you give it to him?" "I'm afraid." Tianju and the others did not hold any hope, because they were well aware of the situation of the people from holy Buddhahood. The Buddha root's treasure would never be passed to outsiders. It must be Buddhist orthodox. Moreover, Buddha root were also prepared for the Son of God. An outsider would definitely not be able to obtain them. Without the Buddha root, there was no way to treat Long Fei's injuries. Tianju retracted his thoughts and said, "Let's not worry about that for now. The fate of Devil Island is up. The dome of the heavens will descend and destroy everything in the Devil Island. We should also make some preparations." Tian Hong said, "I will be in charge of teaching them the legacies of the Tao of the Sword." Tian Chong said, "I am in charge of the body inheritance." Tianju said, "Before senior brother returns, we must make them into peak powerhouse. This is the only thing we can do. Long Fei was heavily injured and disappeared from Devil Island. No one knew. Even if it was the destiny god who controlled fate, he did not know, because the fate of Long Fei had exceeded his control, so he had no way of knowing Long Fei's position. The desperate man brought the flying crane and walked into the Devil Temple, kneeling straight down. "Divine monk, I beg you, give me the inheritance of the strongest sword truth. I will definitely not let the young master be threatened again." He once again entered the Devil Temple. This was the second time in 1,000 years. Not just him. The flying crane also went in. Tianju nodded his head and said, "The 1,000 years of waiting, we were all waiting for Long Fei to appear, And now that he has appeared, the prophecy has arrived, but we are not under control. The only thing we can do is to become stronger. I will specially pass on the supreme Sword Tao legacy to you in the Devil Temple, as well as this divine crane. I will also cause it to evolve. Come. Within the misty starry sky, one of the stars was exceptionally bright. It was like a star that could emit light. This was no ordinary light, but the light of the Holy Buddha. The entire star looked like a huge Sariras, and Holy Buddhahood was built on Sariras. Rumors, before the birth of Holy Buddhahood, an ancient Holy Buddha fell and became a huge Sariras. The Holy Buddhahood was born. Everything in the Holy Buddhahood was based on Buddhism energy. Here, there was no killing, no desires, just like in the legends. It was a pure land, a paradise. Long Fei had heard of the Holy Buddhahood before when he was still in the gods' martial continent. It was just that, at that time, it was just an illusory legend. He never thought that he would actually come to Holy Buddhahood one day, seeing that he was getting closer and closer to the Holy Buddhahood. Even though Long Fei was unconscious, his consciousness was very clear. He muttered in his heart, could the person in charge of the Holy Buddhahood be the Tathagata Lord of Buddha? If that's the case, then we really have to bicker with him. Right. Suddenly, Long Fei thought of an especially important matter. At the border of the Devil Island, he used the power of the Purple Sun Heavenly Emperor to cut off the pair of giant black hands. Prompt for a mysterious item. I have another mysterious item. Long Fei was a little excited. Let's see what this is. The idea moved. He opened up the system to check out the mysterious item. Just as Long Fei's idea landed on the mysterious item, the system sounded out. Ding! Congratulations to player Long Fei for obtaining Devil's Hand. Ding! System prompt. Do you wish to fuse them? In the interface of the system, a demon's right hand was hovering above it, bright and dark, just like a piece of black iron. Item, Devil's Hand level. Attribute, description, Devil's Hand, the power of all evils, able to control life and death with one hand, able to overturn the world with the other. Level and attributes were all unknown. However, its description was extremely impressive. Ding! System prompt. Do you wish to fuse them? The system sounded out once again. Long Fei stared at the Black Devil's hand. It was like a glove, like a special equipment. As long as he fused, it was very likely that one of Long Fei's hands would turn into that of a devil's hand. Ding! System prompt. Do you wish to fuse them? The system sounded for the third time. Long Fei tightened her grip on the idea. Merge! I walk the path of death, becoming a devil. It doesn't matter if I fuse with Devil's Hand or not. And then, following Long Fei's command, the Devil's Hand in the system suddenly disappeared. Next, boom! A loud sound echoed out. Long Fei's right hand suddenly changed. Just as Long Fei had thought, the Devil's Hand was a special equipment, not to fuse with its power, but to directly replace Long Fei's right hand. Boom! At this moment, Long Fei's arms suddenly trembled. It was also at this time Tian Shu's figure moved and landed. Holy Buddhahood, we're here. He could feel Long Fei's arm trembling on his back. He immediately took a look and saw Long Fei's right hand. His expression suddenly tightened, and his entire body suddenly took half a step back as he lost his composure and directly threw the unconscious Long Fei to the ground. He then looked at Long Fei's arm. Demon, demon! I brought a demon back to Holy Buddhahood. Just what did I do? At this moment, inexplicably, fear rose in the Tian Shu's heart. Chapter 1897, Corpse Mountain. Chapter 1897, Corpse Mountain. The Pure Land was not allowed to be tainted. Devil's Hand. Sin Hand. Its appearance would inevitably cause chaos in the holy Buddhahood. Moreover, the key point was that he had brought Long Fei to treat his sickness and seek for the life of the Buddha root. It would be extremely difficult for the Buddha root to fuse Long Fei's devil's hand. The Tian Shu panicked for no reason. Seeing Long Fei's arm slowly turning back from its normal pitch-black state, his expression tensed up. At this moment, a trace of killing intent even flashed in his eyes. Holy Buddhahood was a pure land, but he had brought a demon. His sins are unforgivable. If he could get rid of Long Fei before he made any mistakes, perhaps Holy Buddhahood would still be a Holy Buddhahood, and his pure land would not be sullied in the slightest. This killing intent was very slight, but, however, the unconscious Long Fei sensed it. In that instant, the ball of life and death in his right hand was about to explode with the power of heaven and earth, automatic protection. However, in that moment, the Tian Shu's eyes returned back to normal. It clasped its hands and said, "Amitabha, I almost made a mistake. All of this is a foregone conclusion. If he had seen Long Fei in the Devil Temple, he definitely would not have brought Long Fei to the Holy Buddhahood. And then I will inject some energy into you, causing you to temporarily wake up. But you must remember, you must not use any strength, and you absolutely must not use the purple sun divine power. Otherwise, you won't be able to save your strength even if you were to find the Buddha root. You must remember this." After he finished speaking, the Tian Shu's palm was placed behind Long Fei's back, and a warm current flowed into Long Fei's body from his palm. A few seconds later, Long Fei's body seemed to have recovered. He also woke up from his coma and said, "Thank you, God Monk." The Tian Shu said lightly, "Amitabha, what happened to your arm?" Long Fei said, "This is the arm of the demon in the crack in the dome. After cutting it in half, it mysteriously merged with me just now. Become a devil's hand." The Tian Shu pondered for a moment, then muttered, "Seems like everything is fated. Long Fei, you must remember my next words." The Tian Shu looked at Long Fei seriously. Long Fei nodded and said, "Divine Monk, go ahead." The Tian Shu continued, "From now until the moment you leave the Holy Buddhahood, you must not use the power of your demon's right hand, and you absolutely must not be discovered. Otherwise, Holy Buddhahood will imprison you forever, and you will never be able to leave Holy Buddhahood." What kind of existence was the Holy Buddhahood? It would absolutely not allow the existence of any demonic energy. Once the Devil's Hand's power was discovered, Long Fei would be in an extremely dangerous situation. He would not kill him, but he would never be able to leave. Long Fei nodded his head. "I will remember." The Tian Shu continued, "Right now, your body is forcefully supported by my strength, so you are unable to use your divine power, nor do you need to cultivate those techniques of yours. Right now, you are just like an ordinary person. Before you obtain the Buddha root, you must endure it patiently. You can't be as rampant and act as you would before. This place is different from other places." Long Fei laughed bitterly. "Then wouldn't I be a waste? When I bring you to the Holy Buddhahood, I will definitely think of a way to cure your injuries. I promised your mother that I will do my best." Long Fei said, "Thank you." Seeing that, the Tian Shu was helping him from the bottom of her heart. Although the killing intent from before made Long Fei a little annoyed, his heart was still filled with gratitude. The Tian Shu said, "All right, then follow me to the Buddha city." The Holy Buddhahood only had one city, Buddha City. Above Buddha City was Bliss Temple. It was also known as the holiest place in the world. Tian Shu started to walk towards the direction of Buddha City. Even though she didn't use flying, she still walked towards the Buddha City step by step. Long Fei followed him from behind. The temples that could be seen everywhere, it was just What made Long Fei a little surprised was that all of the temples seemed to be in ruins. Some had even collapsed. The Tian Shu did not have much of an expression on his face, but he had a premonition that something had happened to holy Buddhahood. 1,000 years. The world had changed. Time can change everything, and it can destroy everything. What did this place become? Long Fei looked around at the ruined temples and asked, "God monk, why don't these temples have incense?" The Tian Shu did not speak. His eyebrows knitted together slightly. Seeing that he did not say anything, Long Fei did not ask any further. At night, it was as black as ink. The Tian Shu sat cross-legged with her hands clasped together, softly chanting a Buddhist scripture that Long Fei could not hear. Long Fei sat in front of the bonfire and thought to himself, "Holy Buddhahood doesn't seem to be that safe anymore. I don't know. Why did Mother come here all those years ago? Could it be that she is looking for the 4 holy monks to protect me?" Long Fei thought about the reason his mother came here 1,000 years ago. He thought about everything he had experienced in the Devil Island. He had to say it. His mother was unimaginably strong. Thinking about it, Long Fei smiled like a child and slowly fell asleep. He was currently just an ordinary person. If he was sleepy, he had to sleep, but if he was hungry, he had to eat. He couldn't hold it in anymore. In the middle of the night, Long Fei woke up with a piss. With his eyes opened slightly, the bonfire had already extinguished, and the Tian Shu by his side had disappeared. Long Fei's heart trembled slightly. Where did he go? Long Fei stood up and looked around. At this time, his right hand suddenly moved. A wave of power that was beyond his control and was not restricted by his body's weakness pulled him directly toward the darkness. "You want me to go there?" Long Fei's heart slightly moved. When the Tian Shu woke him up, he already knew that his right hand wasn't an ordinary right hand and wasn't restricted by any power at all. In other words, his right hand could use both strength and martial arts. Similarly, it could also kill people. It would not affect his body. Let's go take a look first. If I can level up, then my body won't need the treatment of any Buddha root. Long Fei made up his mind and walked towards the darkness. Half an hour later, Long Fei was walking in a hurry and was panting heavily. However, Long Fei saw the scene in front of his eyes and was shocked. Damn! The corpses of 10,000 people. Blood filled the mountain. A mountain of corpses. Furthermore, they were all moving the corpses on the corpse mountain like a zombie at the top of the corpse mountain. A bandit-like giant zombie was frantically absorbing the blood essence from these corpses. It was sinister and terrifying. More importantly, Long Fei's right arm was about to move and was completely unable to control it. Chapter 1898, Holy Buddhahood First Blast. Chapter 1898, Holy Buddhahood First Blast. The power under his arm was moving. His right hand was changing. Long Fei suppressed and controlled it. His arm suddenly turned black and suddenly returned to his original state. The devil's power inside his arm started to surge. It was as if 10,000 evil spirits were roaring in his arms. At this moment, on top of the corpse mountain, the gigantic butcher, zombie, seemed to have felt Long Fei's power, and his eyes flashed with a ray of bloodlight, and he glared. It directly locked onto Long Fei's position. In that instant, the butcher zombie moved. Boom! With a step forward, he blocked the huge axe on his shoulder and fiercely swung down. Long Fei's face tensed up. F***CK. His speed was too fast. His reaction was too slow to keep up. Furthermore, the huge power of the butcher's zombie had completely suppressed him, leaving him unable to move at all. The only thing that could move was his right arm. seeing the gigantic axe cutting down. Long Fei's right arm blocked it. At this moment, a Buddhist light flashed, grabbed Long Fei's body, and fiercely leaped, instantly moving 100 meters away. The Tian Shu looked at Long Fei and said, "Don't expose your right hand." Rumble! The butcher, zombie, chopped down with his axe. The ground trembled, and a huge crack appeared. The area within a few kilometers was shaking. Long Fei was still in a panicked state and asked, "What is that? Isn't holy Buddhahood a sacred ground? Wasn't it the pure land? How could there be such a thing?" Long Fei couldn't understand, and also that mountain of corpses was too terrifying. Even the scenes of the demon's sword killing him were not as frightening as before. These guys, they were all alive. However, they were completely crushed by a force absorbing the blood essence from their bodies. The Tian Shu frowned and shook her head. "I don't know. In the past, holy Buddhahood was not like this." Long Fei asked, "What exactly is that fellow?" The Tian Shu frowned, and after being silent for a moment, he said, "Evil Spirit Tribe. Evil Spirit Tribe." Long Fei had never heard of this race, and asked, "How can the holy Buddhahood have such an evil race?" The Tian Shu said, "The Evil Spirit Tribe come from a foreign realm, and is a race within the universal large world, a branch of the spirit race. It's just that they have made a contract with a demon and became an evil spirit. But I don't know why Evil Spirit Tribe would appear in holy Buddhahood. Could it be?" The Tian Shu did not dare to think further. At this moment, the butcher zombie attacked again. His axe swept out. A red light swept across. The Tian Shu grabbed Long Fei's body again and leaped, once more dodging and landing 100 meters away. Long Fei replied, "What's the point of hiding? Kill him." The Tian Shu shook its head and said, "Buddha does not kill life." Not waiting for him to finish, the butcher zombie rushed forward once again. This time even more ferociously. The axe transformed into countless skeleton evil spirits radiating from their axes and pouncing towards the Tian Shu and Long Fei from all directions. The Tian Shu grabbed Long Fei again. Only this time, they were unable to dodge, and the Tian Shu's back was struck by an evil spirit skeleton, causing its body to stagger. If he had not protected Long Fei with all his might, Long Fei would have been severely injured. Awkward. It was extremely embarrassing. You're a four holy monks too, to be reduced to such a sorry state by an evil spirit zombie. Isn't that just too dishonorable? Regardless of what the Tian Shu was thinking, Long Fei was still very unhappy in his heart. He was unhappy and wanted to do one thing. This made the other party even more unhappy. And then Long Fei's eyes turned sinister. He shouted out, "If you don't kill me, I will kill you to achieve my Tao. I will kill you." Suddenly, Long Fei took a step forward. He looked at the burly man with a huge axe in his hand and said, "Come, attack your father." The Tian Shu frowned and said, "Long Fei, you promised me." "Right. I promised you, but that was in front of Buddha. What is this fellow? Evil spirit." Long Fei looked at the long gash on the head of the butcher zombie and thought to himself, even if this guy isn't a boss, he should be an elite monster. I also need experience now. I need to break through to the Silver Star realm. As long as I level up, then I can be perfectly fine. What Buddha root? What holy Buddhahood? Go to hell. Long Fei made up his mind and shouted at the evil spirit bandit, Come towards me." Boom. The evil spirit butcher looked as if he was enraged. A scarlet light exploded from his body. He locked his eyes on Long Fei and stepped forward. Fast. It was too fast. Long Fei was simply unable to see his trajectory. Right now, he was just an ordinary person. His cultivation was sealed. He was unable to use the cultivation technique. Even his reaction speed was much slower than before. Right now, the only thing he could use was the devil's hand. Long Fei stood in place, completely relaxed himself, and let his right arm feel it. The system's description says that you can control life and death, overturning heaven and earth in anger. Then let me experience your power. Long Fei's heart sank. Boom, boom, boom. The strong wind was like thunder as it came crashing over. Long Fei's white hair flew in disarray, and the corners of his clothes made an explosive sound. He was a little nervous, and did not know if his devil's hand could resist it. However, he had no other choice now. Rumble! The battle axe hacked down hard towards the top of Long Fei's head. It was just that. Suddenly, the gale suddenly stopped. The Tian Shu blocked the attack of the evil spirit bandit and tightly held onto his battle axe, unable to move an inch. The Tian Shu said slightly, "I said, I will protect." Not waiting for him to finish, the power on Long Fei's arm suddenly exploded and directly dragged his body, transforming into a black light that shot out in a straight line. Boom! Long Fei's body directly passed through the evil spirit butcher's body. The bloody wound on the head of the evil spirit butcher also let out a schwa sound and went straight to the bottom. Crack, crack, crack. The evil spirit butcher's entire body cracked open as he abruptly kneeled on the ground, and his huge body collapsed with a loud bang. Boom! The Tian Shu's brows tightened and berated loudly. "Long Fei, you—" He looked at Long Fei's sinister right hand and felt fear at the strength of his right arm. The Buddhist light on his body also trembled and surged. Long Fei grinned and said, "I can't control it either. My hand has been cursed. I can't control it." It was also at this time a system notification rang out. Long Fei secretly thought for a while before becoming excited. "Holy Buddhahood's #1 monster. Big brother, you must give me some face and something good will come out of it, right?" Ding! Congratulations to player Long Fei for killing Evil Spirit Butcher for obtaining 20,000 experience, 20,000 holy power value, and 1 metamorphic energy value. Congratulations to player Long Fei for obtaining the Evil Spirit Axe. Congratulations to player Long Fei for obtaining Evil Spirit Blood. Congratulations to player Long Fei for obtaining the Demon Spirit Orb. Congratulations to player Long Fei for obtaining the Demonic Chariot. An elite, yet he had dropped so many things. Moreover, the last thing startled Long Fei. Evil Spirit Chariot, the Evil Spirit Chariot played by Nicolas Cage in The Ghost Rider. Damn! Releasing abnormal value points. Chapter 1899, Ghost Rider. Chapter 1899, Ghost Rider, the Evil Spirit Chariot exploded. This guy, a car with access to hell. If he could make a trip to the infernal realm, Long Fei missed his father and the 8 King Kong a lot. If he could go to hell to meet them, he would definitely be very excited. Thus, Long Fei moved, inject metamorphic energy value. Buzz. A muffled sound rang out. The system beeped. Ding. Congratulations to player Long Fei for obtaining Ghost Rider. A skeleton appeared on top of the demonic spirit chariot. It was fully armed, and there was a burning knight on top of it. Ghost Rider! Long Fei was confused. He muttered in his heart, "Fuck, did he explode Nicolas Cage out? This is going to be a big ruckus." However, the only thing left of the Ghost Rider was a skull. Its appearance was exactly the same as the Nicolas Cage of the Ghost Rider. You can't recognize it with just a skull, can you? The Super Chariot, with a Ghost Rider holding onto the evil spirit demon chain. The scene was truly very eye-catching. Although Long Fei had once owned an aircraft carrier, a fighter jet, and a cannon, he had never experienced the feeling of racing in a foreign world. especially with this kind of heavy locomotive. The booming sound was like the roar of a wild bull. If it was released, everyone would be stupefied. This was simply acting like a holy artifact. But it belongs to the ghost rider. Just a little bit. Long Fei retracted his expression and looked at his experience points. There was still a certain amount of time before he could level up, but there was still a certain amount of time, and a certain amount of time before he could level up. With the power of this devil's hand, Long Fei slightly smiled. Upgrading shouldn't be too difficult. Just now, he had clearly felt the explosive power of a single punch. It was not the blasting fist. However, the sudden burst of power from his right arm was very powerful. The Tian Shu looked at the evil spirit butcher, who had collapsed on the ground, and landed beside Long Fei. It watched as Long Fei slowly turned back to his original right hand and said, "Devil's power, you will be lost in this power. Long Fei, do not use it again." The frown between the Tian Shu's eyebrows became even more intense, and he became even more worried. The devil's power was a type of evil power. Demons would never give their power to others. This kind of power would only backfire and would only control people, not be controlled by others. Long Fei said, "I will be above the demons." The Tian Shu's eyes tightened as she looked at Long Fei. Long Fei said, "My life belongs to me instead of the heavens. Demons, destiny, everything in the world, don't even think about controlling my fate. I don't believe in gods. I don't worship Buddha. I don't fear demons. I'm not afraid of ghosts. No one can control me, and I won't allow any kind of power to control me." The Tian Shu looked at Long Fei quietly. Seeing Long Fei's unfathomable gaze, his heart trembled slightly, and said slightly, "You are now exactly the same as your mother." Long Fei's heart trembled, and he immediately said, "Divine monk, can you tell me about my mother?" The Tian Shu laughed and said, I'm afraid that the most peculiar girl in the world will be known to you when you meet her." Long Fei asked, "Is she still alive?" The destiny god had once said that her mother had disappeared under his control, to die or to live. Of course she's alive. Just based on the fact that no one from the 100,000 planes is able to deal with her, her strength is unimaginable to you. She protects countless planes, and our holy Buddhahood is also under her protection. The current holy Buddhahood was clearly different from 1,000 years ago. Unexpectedly, even an evil spirit had appeared. One could only imagine that something big must have happened in the holy Buddhahood. The Tian Shu paused for a few seconds, then said, "Everything your mother has done is for your sake. Long Fei, you must live a good life, and many things will have to be resolved by yourself, and only you can comprehend it. Your background, your mother's identity, the fate and powerful enemies that your dragon race has to shoulder, all had to wait for you to do so. The world you are seeing, including the 100,000 planes controlled by the main temple, is just a speck of dust. This is just one of your trial grounds. Everything you face is just a test for you. So, Long Fei, you have to stay alive and sound. You cannot have any accidents. If you are unable to control the devil's power, I recommend that you stop using it. Your current body is weak. Once the devil heart grows stronger, you will be unable to recuperate, and even if you obtain the Buddha root, it will not be able to heal your injuries." The Tian Shu said seriously. Long Fei was overwhelmed with shock. 100,000 worlds is just a speck of dust. What would the world be like after that? Long Fei had always felt that he was messing around in the main city, but he never thought that. He even went to every single place in the novice village. He still carried his novice sword, while the novice cloth was still playing in the novice village with the mud. He didn't know whether to laugh or cry. This old lady. Just how strong are you? Long Fei really wanted to know how strong was his mother, someone who did not even put the 100,000 planes in her eyes. Moreover, where is she now? Wasn't her identity the demonic saintess? Could it be that he had another identity? And then there was the fate that his own dragon race had to bear. What was this? A tribulation that lasted 3,330,000 years, the destruction of 100,000 dragons. Just what kind of people had they offended? It seemed like Long Fei had experienced a lot of questions, and it felt like he had found the answer. However, the more it was asked, the more Long Fei realized that he did not even know what fart was. It was as if he had fallen into a deep mystery. Long Fei said, "Thank you, monk. I will remember your words." The Tianshu nodded and said, "And a few minutes later, the Tianshu and Long Fei walked to the front of the corpse mountain. The piles of corpses were still struggling. They did not die, but were controlled by the evil spirits. Life was better than death. Amit Ba, the Tianshu muttered as she clasped her hands together. Long Fei said, "These people should all be former believers, right? To think that they have now become the food of evil spirits." The Tianshu lit a torch. At this time, Long Fei immediately took the torch and said, "God monk, leave the killing to me." The Tianshu did not object and said slightly, "All right." After he finished, he sat cross-legged and chanted the Sutra of the Buddha in a low voice. Long Fei looked at the piles of corpses and smiled slightly. Although these spirits that have yet to take shape don't have much experience, mosquitoes' legs still have meat. He threw the torch down. The mountain of corpses began to burn. Not long later, the system beeped crazily in his mind. Ding, 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 ding. It never stopped. The flames soared to the sky, burning even more intensely than before. Long Fei listened to the system beep, saw the evil spirit struggling in the flames, and muttered, "The holy Buddhahood is also protected by Mother, but now there is the appearance of an evil spirit." Just as Long Fei was thinking about this, suddenly a bizarre system beep sounded out. Ding. Congratulations, player. Chapter 1900, Abnormal Ant King. Chapter 1900, Abnormal Ant King, a special tone. He did not gain experience, but obtained items. Ding. Congratulations to player Long Fei for obtaining evil spirit ants. As soon as he finished, an ant the size of a fist floated in Long Fei's mind. It was scarlet, and its body was radiating with the flames of an evil spirit. It was very special. War Pet, demonic ant level 1 damage, 1-star speed, 2 stars description, able to control 1,000 ants. It could be said that this was an extremely low-level war pet. No matter whether it was level, damage, or speed, they were all attributes with attributes so weak that they would explode. It was simply a useless war pet. However, the last one made his mind tremble. He can control 1,000 ants. Interesting. Ants, the animals that no one cared about the most. However, using it well, it was actually the world's most powerful animal, a great tool for gathering intelligence. And then, Long Fei looked at the metamorphic energy value that had already been filled up and said, "Since it's already filled up, we should just leave it there. If not, we can see what this guy can become." Inject metamorphic energy value. Buzz. A muffled sound rang out. The system beeped. Ding. Congratulations to player Long Fei for obtaining the evil spirit Ant King. The size of his fist was still the size of a fist, and there was no change to his body at all. Then he looked at its attributes. Warped S. Evil Ant King level. God damage. 6-star speed. 9 stars description. The Jinx can control 1,000,000 man-eating ants or ordinary ants. Damage and average speed. It's not a battle beast, but after reading the description, Long Fei's entire body shivered. His brain started to feel numb because What did a million man-eating ants mean? With a whistling sound, he instantly became a skeleton. Damn, isn't this too abnormal? Long Fei muttered. Time and time again, his metamorphic energy value exceeded his expectations. Looks like I need to organize an army of ants. Gathering intelligence, digging graves, killing people, this is simply a bid for a holy artifact. Long Fei moved, taking advantage of the moment that the Tianshu was not paying attention to release the evil spirit Ant King. The idea moved. I now order you to immediately organize an army of ants for me. The devilish spirit Ant King quickly teleported out. He could control 1 million man-eating ants, but that did not mean that he would have to collect 1 million of them. When he returned, the man-eating ants would form a mountain. That would be amazing. The fire burned. It lasted until the morning of the next day. Each of the evil spirits had a few points of experience points, but just like this, Long Fei's experience points rose by more than 200,000 points, showing the number of corpses on the mountain. Within a radius of thousands of kilometers, there was no sign of human life. The temple had fallen, and it was possible that all of them had died here. It was absolutely tragic. We need to speed up a bit. The Tianshu opened his eyes. He was already a little worried in his heart. If even the mountains had become like this, then what about the Buddha city? And the Bliss Temple? Long Fei shrugged his shoulders and said, I'm fine with anything. Tianshu said, all right, finished. The Tianshu grabbed Long Fei's shoulder and instantly leaped into the air, soaring 100 meters above. Shwa! Without waiting for Long Fei's reaction, he had already landed 10 kilometers away. Long Fei moved a bit and kept on leaving his own chi. The evil spirit, Ant, could only find him by relying on his chi. Originally, it would have taken half a month. Now, an hour. Buddha City. From afar, the ground looked like a huge Buddha statue, and there were 4 huge Buddha statues standing at the 4 corners of Buddha City, calling it a city, but more like a temple. All the buildings were like temples. Long Fei didn't see anything, but the center of the Tianshu's brows, however, turned sinister. Demonic chi covered the sky. It covered the entire Buddha City. It looks like Buddha City is no longer the Buddha City of the past. Long Fei looked at his expression and asked, Master, what's the situation? The Tianshu did not say anything but looked towards the sky and said, we will directly head to the Bliss Temple. Change paths. Long Fei muttered in his heart, Bliss Temple? I wonder if my army of ants will be able to reach the skies. The number of skills he had to protect himself was too few. Even the 12 Hell Reapers among the Sumi rings could not summon it out. They could only rely on his devil's hand. Then there was the Ghost Rider. However, the key was that these skills could not be used in front of the Buddhist disciples. Otherwise, not only would he be in danger, even the Tianshu would be implicated by him. If only I could level up. I don't need any Buddha root S to heal me either. Big Luo elixir, Buddha root, spirit root, they are all not even worth as much as when I leveled up them. I don't feel any pain when I level up them. Long Fei thought. However, he would not say such a thing out loud. This was because the system could not be discovered, just like death. He knew his own secret, so he had to die. Anyone who knew of his secret would die, and the system would definitely not find out. Sky Cloud Zone. Boom. Boom. The Tianshu stepped onto a cloud and quickly rushed to the top of the cloud layer, breaking through its thick layer of clouds. It gave off a feeling of purity. His entire body felt indescribably comfortable. The Tianshu's heart also slightly relaxed. Fortunately, Bliss Temple is still here. Buddhist light can explain everything. Evil spirits were unable to enter the Bliss Temple. However, the Tianshu did not even have time to be happy before a dark red light shone from afar. It was as if he had fallen into hell, causing his expression to change greatly. When this kind of light shone on his body, Long Fei also felt an indescribable feeling of comfort. This feeling was different from the Buddha luminescence just now. Very comfortable. It was as if several naked girls were massaging his shoulders and back. It was so comfortable that he didn't want it. This is bad. The Tian Shu secretly shouted, grabbed Long Fei, and frantically flew out. A few monks wearing monastic robes flew out from within the dark red light, but they were covered in the light of evil spirits. One of them recognized the Tian Shu at a glance and said, "The head of the 4 holy monks, the Tian Shu. 1,000 years. You're finally back. You brought that kid back, right?" The evil spirit monks stared at Long Fei. Long Fei had a feeling it was as if they were not waiting for the Tian Shu, but him. Could it be? There are people from the Destiny God here too? That's not right. Holy Buddhahood was a plane outside the 100,000 plane of existence. The power of the Destiny God was still unable to infiltrate here. Then why are these guys waiting for him? Long Fei was confused, but he knew that these fellows definitely weren't here to protect him. From the looks of it, they were here to take his life. Because it was very simple to see this clearly. The evil spirit monk's body emitted a golden light. Boss. The first boss from Holy Buddhahood. Chapter 19:01. Holy Buddha's first boss. Chapter 19:01. Holy Buddha's first boss bliss temple. Holy Buddhahood's sacred ground. However, now, the evil spirit of Buddha also appeared. This meant that the extreme heaven had fallen. Tian Shu's heart sank, seeing the evil spirit Buddha that flew over. Her eyes revealed a look of astonishment. Jia Kong, great master. The high monk of the refuge. It was a level higher than him. The Tian Shu was shocked speechless. Long Fei muttered, "This guy's seniority is higher than yours?" The Tian Shu nodded and said, "Your seniority is higher than me. However, the 4 holy monks of my generation is a unique existence." "Oh, so it's like that. I don't understand either. Just tell me who's stronger, you or him." Long Fei did not want to know who among their ranks was the most powerful, just like how he knew whether or not Tian Shu could defeat the great monk from Jia Kong. The Tian Shu said slightly, 1,000 years ago, I wanted to beat him by a point, but now 1,000 years had changed too much. Although he was also training in the Devil Temple, he had been studying Buddha scriptures and did not spend much effort on the martial arts training. "Oh." Long Fei gave a meaningful, "Oh," smiled slightly, and said, "Master, how about this? Let me handle him." "Boss." Long Fei couldn't move at all when he saw the boss. If it could explode, it would definitely explode. Even if it couldn't explode, he would still think of ways to explode. The center of the Tian Shu's brows shook and said, "Long Fei, you want to use the devil's power again?" Long Fei laughed mischievously and said, "Look at him turn into an evil spirit Buddha. His mind has already been occupied by evil. Leaving him alive will only bring harm to the holy Buddhahood. Why not purify it?" The Tian Shu immediately said, "No, this is the extreme heaven. Just now, I also felt the power of the Buddhist light. You definitely cannot use the devil's power here." As for him, the Tian Shu looked at the Jia Kong great master, who was getting closer and closer, and said lightly, "I will do my best to protect you." Long Fei hugged onto both of his arms, shrugged, and said, "Up to you." Boom. The Jia Kong great master descended, looked at Long Fei seriously, and smiled. "He is Mu Wanner's son? Is that the person your 4 holy monks is protecting?" The Tian Shu said, "Jia Kong martial uncle, how did you become an evil spirit Buddha?" The Jia Kong sneered and said, "Buddha cannot cross a human. I have become a devil, and that is the reason." "Kid." Jia Kong stared at Long Fei and said, You are Mu Wanner's son? Long Fei asked, why are you calling out to your father? Father doesn't have any sugar for you to eat. Ah ha ha. Jiak Kong laughed heartily. He suddenly stopped laughing, and his eyes emitted a cold light. In that instant, the evil spirit chi on his body exploded. The pressure was like the heavens. Rumble. Long Fei's mind felt like it was about to explode. At the same time, the Tianshu's reaction was fast. The Buddhist light on his body exploded forth, directly blocking the pressure released by the Jiekong, and shouted, Jiekong, what are you trying to do? Jiekong's expression became sinister. What are you doing? You don't know yet, do you? The reason why the Holy Buddhahood was invaded by the evil spirit tribe was because of his mother. That's not right. To be exact, it should be because of him. Kid, do you know how valuable your life is? You can't imagine. While they were talking, the aura on Jiekong's body seemed to explode as he rushed crazily at the Tianshu. Long Fei's heart tightened and said, who wants my life in the end? If you want me to die, then let me die as well. Understand? In the 100,000 planes, the destiny god wanted his life. There was still someone after his life in the Holy Buddhahood. Who was he trying to offend? So many people were looking forward to his death. I don't understand, Jiekong said. I don't know who wanted your life, but the reason the evil spirit tribe invaded the Holy Buddhahood was for you. Kid, accept your fate. His voice shook. Evil spirit demon flames were released from Jiekong's body, covering the sky and enveloping the Tianshu and Long Fei. It was also in the thin monkey. The 3 Buddha statues behind Jiekong also rushed over, landing in 3 different directions behind Long Fei. Boom, boom, boom. At this moment, the demonic flames formed a Buddhist magic formation, locking Long Fei and the Tianshu inside. The Tianshu's face tightened as it sat cross-legged in the air, mumbling something insanely. Following that, its body continuously emitted Buddhist light. Amidst the Buddhist light, there was a series of runes that looked like Buddhist scriptures. It formed into a powerful force of impact. The expression in Jiekong's eyes changed, and he said, Holy Buddha scripture? Seems like the rumors were not false. As a condition of protecting him, Mu Wanner really did give your Holy Buddha a scripture. 8,000 years of comprehension. Let's see just what boundary you've reached. While they were talking, the evil spirit flames on Jiekong's body flared up once again. Streaks of devil-like energy rushed out from his body, turning into all sorts of Buddhist taboo items. Liquor and meat, a naked woman. These temptations and the like rushed into the Tianshu's sea of consciousness. Ha ha ha. Come on, little monk. Come on, big sis will play a game with you. Elder sister's heart hurts, let me touch it. Every single one of them was a peerless beauty. Their voices were charming to the bone, causing others to be unable to control their emotions. However, the Tianshu seemed to have never happened before. The Buddhist scripture in his mouth continued to recite. A true Buddha. Even though Long Fei couldn't feel what he was experiencing, he could feel the alluring feeling. Boom. Jiekong's eyes turned cold. 4 holy monks is just different. It seems like you are one step closer to becoming Buddha. Lord of Buddha had predicted that the 4 of you would become Buddha, but I don't believe it, because dead people can't become Buddha. Jiekong looked at the other 3 and shouted, Do it! The 4 of them moved at the same time. The Tianshu looked around, and the chi around its body suddenly changed. Boom, boom, boom. Buddha luminescence erupted from his entire body from all 4 directions. Long Fei's heart trembled slightly. Damn, what a strong power. Buzz, buzz. The Buddhist light on the Tianshu's body exploded. Not waiting for the 4 to rush over. It struck out in all four directions. Jia Kong laughed coldly. Tianshu, your strength has not decreased at all. It's just that. Compared to you, I want his life more. Their target was the Tianshu S, but the target of the Jia Kong was Long Fei. Long Fei muttered, I am a soft persimmon. Aren't you able to pinch me a little? His right arm moved slightly. The devil's power under his arm started to move. The center of the Tianshu's brows tightened and shouted loudly, Long Fei, you can't. In that instant, the Tianshu retracted the four Buddhist lights and directly protected Long Fei, sending him out of the inferno prison with a powerful force. At this time, when Jia Kong saw Long Fei flying out of the inferno cage, he moved his devil hands. Then, you shall die first. Boom. A palm struck onto the Tianshu's chest. A mouthful of blood sprayed out. Long Fei was furious. However, the Tianshu said once again, Long Fei, quickly leave. Jia Kong sneered. He won't be able to escape. Long Fei was enraged. He roared, Father, let's leave your ancestor. I will kill you. Chapter 1902. Your turn. Chapter 1902. Your turn. The worst thing was to run. The last thing he wanted to see was someone dying for him. In this kind of situation, no matter how severe Long Fei's injuries were and how weak his body was, he would still choose to gobble it up. Although he had rushed out of the infernal fire prison, when he saw the Tianshu being beaten up to the point of spitting blood, he immediately turned around and charged back. The Tianshu's eyes were startled and shouted, Long Fei, run. Jia Kong revealed a cold smile and said complacently, I always thought you were the smartest person. I didn't expect you to be so stupid. Ha ha ha. He actually still dares to rush back. Then I'll let you die happily. The evil spirit inferno on Jia Kong's body moved, and his body flickered continuously in the cage. He couldn't tell where he was, nor could he tell where he was at all. All of the eerie killing intent rushed towards Long Fei. The demon power in Long Fei's arms started to surge. Brat, hand your life over. The Jia Kong roared. A powerful Buddhist light once again exploded from the body of the Tianshu. The Buddhist light exploded into the sky. It directly penetrated through the infernal fire cage and exploded in midair. In the distance, Buddhist light, the powerful Buddhist light, the Buddhist light from the Holy Buddha's scripture. Has the four holy monks returned? Just as they were discussing, several figures quickly flew out from the depths of Bliss Temple. Buzz. The powerful Buddhist light once again blasted the Jia Kong away, and the Tianshu also instantly landed in front of Long Fei. It scolded him in a low voice. I said, as long as I live, you are not allowed to use that kind of power. Do you understand? Long Fei looked at him, unable to say a single word. Actually, Long Fei understood very clearly in his heart. The Tianshu did not want to make his situation even more dangerous, because once he erupted the devil's power in his arm, not only would the evil spirit tribe want his life, even the people in the Bliss Temple would not let him leave this place. In the air, once Long Fei released the devil's power, the people of Bliss Temple would definitely realize that they would never give him a Buddha root under such circumstances. The Tianshu shouted again, Do you understand? Long Fei clenched his fists and said, Understood. The Tianshu let out a light breath and said in a low voice, I will once again send you out. The next step probably requires you to walk on it by yourself. Go and find my master, Damo. The Buddha root is in his hands. Remember my words. You absolutely don't need to use that kind of power. And then the Tianshu's gaze tensed up, and the aura in her eyes became different. She stared at Jia Kong coldly and said slightly, Junior Master Jia Kong, don't force me. Jia Kong was a little shocked when he saw the killing gaze of the Tian Shu, and then he started laughing loudly. Ha ha, Tian Shu, looks like you aren't far from becoming a demon. You actually wanted to kill me. Ha ha ha, just like me. Why? You want to kill me? Come on, let's both fall into the path of demon and become evil spirits. Jia Kong laughed excitedly. If the Tian Shu, the leader of the 4 holy monks, could transform into an evil spirit, it would certainly be the strongest blow to those who were guarding inside the Bliss Temple. The Tian Shu's eyes slightly narrowed and then suddenly moved. Buzz. The Buddhist light dimmed. The Tian Shu's body suddenly disappeared. The center of Jia Kong's brows tightened, and he exclaimed in his heart, "So fast! However, you want to kill me with just this kind of speed? Humph, Tian Shu, you are still too inexperienced." Jia Kong's voice turned cold, and the evil spirit's flames on his body also instantly changed. It turned from a scarlet red to a purplish blue flame. At the same time, Long Fei could see that the boss's aura had become even more dazzling than before. A boss mutation? That's not right. It was because the boss was hiding its strength, so after it unleashed its strength, the aura it gave the boss became even more intense. I have to kill him. I have to think of a way to kill him. His eyes were completely red. Right now, he needed experience points very much, and very much to level up. As long as he leveled up, he would no longer need any Bullsh, T-Buddha root. Long Fei's gaze was unmoving. His eyes locked onto the groove on top of Jia Kong's head. If there was still a little bit of blood left, he really would explode without a care. As for the warning from the Tian Shu, explosions later. Boom. The two forces collided. The Tian Shu bounced off and retreated explosively. Jia Kong's expression changed. The wound on his head had also decreased by a large amount. Jia Kong said in a low voice, "For holy monks is indeed extraordinary. I didn't think that your cultivation didn't drop after 1,000 years." The Tian Shu said, "Jia Kong, martial uncle, I think it's best if Hai Wuya returns." "I can't turn my head." Jia Kong growled, "If I can't become Buddha, I will become a demon." Ah. Jia Kong moved both his hands, and under his 5 fingers, countless sinister roars, and miserable screams rang out. It was as if he saw a mountain of corpses in the forest. These people had all died at his hands. The Tian Shu's eyes trembled. Zhang Xian's heart tightened. He never thought that the esteemed monk of the Bliss Temple would cause so much bloodshed, and because of the momentary shock in his heart, the Jia Kong found an opportunity and shouted, "Die!" Long Fei shouted loudly, "Master, be careful!" The Tian Shu reacted quickly, but it was still slower by half a second. By the time he had reacted, the hundreds of thousands of evil spirits of the Jia Kong had already exploded outwards, heavily smashing onto the chest of the Tian Shu. Boom, boom, boom. The Tian Shu continued to retreat explosively. He did not suffer much. It didn't do much damage. However, his expression was pained. Jia Kong laughed coldly. "Tian Shu, under these evil spirit souls, you all must have fallen to the devil Tao. Ha ha ha. Suffering. It's more interesting to bewitch you than to kill you. Ha ha ha." The Tian Shu's face was pale, and its entire body was surrounded by purplish-blue devilish flames. Its body constantly emitted miserable cries as its evil spirits corroded the sea of consciousness in its mind. Jia Kong looked at his pained expression and said, "Do you feel the pain of an evil spirit? How does it feel?" Ha ha ha. The world of Tian Shu. Hundreds of thousands of evil spirits were roaring and screaming. They were like ants that firmly occupied his body and kept crawling towards his mind. The Tian Shu sat cross-legged and chanted the Buddhist scripture nonstop. However, it was useless. The evil spirits in his body were not under his control. Jie Kong laughed. It's useless. No Buddhist scripture can save you. The only thing you can do is become a demon. Ha! Once the god monk becomes a demon, it will definitely shake the entire holy Buddhahood. Ha! Long Fei walked closer to the Tian Shu. The Tian Shu immediately shouted, "Don't come any closer to me." Long Fei's brows tightened and said, "Master, it doesn't matter if you become a Buddha or a devil. As long as your heart is not destroyed, you can still become a Buddha even if you become a devil." Jie Kong shivered, then sneered. "Ha ha! Boy, are you joking? Do you know the feeling of a 1,000-year-old Buddhist being turned into a demon? You have no idea what a Buddha is. Forget it. You have nothing to say to a dead man. Now it's your turn." Jie Kong stared at Long Fei. Chapter 1903, Ghost Rider Attack. Chapter 1903, Ghost Rider Attack. The Tian Shu was surrounded by the evil spirit. Long Fei was unable to understand, but looking at his tightly knitted brows, he knew that this must be extremely painful. A monk, an ascetic monk, 1,000 years of cultivation, yet they were forced to bed with a woman, eating meat, drinking wine, and their taboos were all broken. This was a feeling that no one could understand. Moreover, evil spirits were even more terrifying than these. Demon heart grew. This was an existence that would never be reborn. The Tian Shu was kind-hearted, listening to those screams. He wished that he could exterminate all living things. The more he wanted to save someone, the more his mind would be entangled by the evil spirit, because this was his weakness. Becoming a demon, a straight line. This was how Jie Kong became obsessed back then. The only difference from Tian Shu was that he took the initiative to become obsessed, and did not struggle like the Tian Shu. These struggles were useless. There's no escape. Jie Kong also couldn't be bothered to look at the Tian Shu anymore. He instead looked at Long Fei and said, "Brat, the reason holy Buddhahood became like this is because you were born. It was you who destroyed this pure land of holy Buddhahood. Of course. I also want to thank you. If it wasn't for you, I wouldn't have been able to experience the joys of being a human and become a devil. No matter what. Today, I will kill you. This is also the best gift I can give you." Jie Kong had a faint smile on his face. He was extremely excited. Mu Wanner appeared 1,000 years ago, for holy monks' departure. After more than 100 years, evil spirits began to appear in the holy Buddhahood. Evil spirit tribe began to invade. The holy Buddhahood began to become chaotic, and slowly he could not suppress the growth of the evil spirit. In the end, all that was left of the holy Buddhahood was a tiny bit of breathing space. All of this was because of Long Fei. Of course, Long Fei didn't know what he had done from the start. How could it be caused by him? Right now, he didn't have time to think about this. Looking at Jie Kong, who was full of satisfaction, he said, "If you have the guts, come." "Ha ha ha. Brat, are you still so arrogant in front of me? The reason you are standing in front of me right now is because the Tian Shu gave you a bit of power. Otherwise, you would only be in a coma right now." Yun Che said. To him, Long Fei was like a dead fish on a chopping board. Long Fei was secretly shocked. Why does he know it so clearly? Could it be that there was a prophecy 1,000 years ago? What kind of freaking perverted people? Are they? Long Fei never believed in prophecies. He only believed in himself. A man wins. Long Fei laughed and said, "Since you know it so well, then come and bite me." "Humph, your mouth is pretty hard. Then go to hell." Jie Kong's eyes turned sinister. His expression changed. He took a step forward and practically appeared in front of Long Fei. With a palm strike, he smashed towards Long Fei's head. The speed was too fast. The strength was too strong. There was no time to react at all. Long Fei's pupils suddenly shrank. The demon on his arm moved, as if it was automatically blocking. However, even after pausing for a few seconds, the attacks from the Jia Kong still did not land. Long Fei looked carefully and discovered that there was someone standing in front of him. Tianshu. The Tianshu's face was flushed red, and a devil fire started burning on his body. His eyes were bloodshot as he stared at Jia Kong and said, "I will definitely not let you hurt him." Buzz. When the powerful force exploded, the remaining bit of Buddhist light in the body shot out, and even forced the Jia Kong to withdraw. Jia Kong's expression turned sinister, his blood tumbling below his chest. It was very uncomfortable, but looking at the devil fire on the Tianshu's body, he said coldly, "Tianshu, you still dare to use the power of Buddhist light at this time. You're already beyond saving. Ha ha ha. You want to protect him? You want Damocles to give him the Buddha root. Ha ha ha." Jia Kong laughed out loud. "I forgot to tell you, the Buddha root disappeared 500 years ago. This guy is dead for sure. Ha ha." The Tianshu's eyes shook and said, "Impossible. It's impossible for the Buddha root to disappear. In the entire holy Buddhahood, there was only one Buddha root. It was prepared for the Son of God. For thousands of years, without the arrival of the Son of God, the Buddha root had been kept in the pagoda in the Bliss Temple and would not have disappeared." The Jia Kong said, "If there was a Buddha root, do you think the Bliss Temple would hide in the heavenly palace and not dare to come out? The Buddha root was long gone. The Buddha that you believe in, the master that you trust, might have merged with the Buddha root and taken it for yourself." Ha ha ha. Impossible. Absolutely impossible. The Tianshu's mind began to tremble. He had brought Long Fei into the holy Buddhahood precisely for the sake of the Buddha root. He promised Muwaner, but now, he didn't know how much longer he could control it either. But the moment he lost the ability to control his heart and fell into the path of demon, the power he had transferred to Long Fei would disappear, and Long Fei would sink into a coma. Then his promise could not be fulfilled. Actually, seeing the painful expression on the Tianshu's face, he wanted to tell him that he had a way to heal his injuries. As long as he could level him up, everything would be fine. But the few times that the words were about to reach his mouth, Long Fei endured it. This was the system. This was his secret. Apart from him, he could not tell anyone else his secret. However, hearing Jia Kong's words, Long Fei's mind also secretly tightened. When the Tianshu perishes and his Buddhist energy disappears, he would fall into a coma again. If that's the case, Long Fei's eyes were filled with killing intent. He wanted to level up. You must upgrade. If he lost consciousness again, everything would be under the control of someone else. He did not want anyone to slap him a few times, so he did not move. Jia Kong said, "Do you think I would lie to you? Everything you do is for the sake of bringing this brat to the holy Buddhahood. What I want to do is to end this brat's life. This is the certainty. Tianshu, accept your fate." Ha ha ha. Jia Kong laughed out loud. At the same time, he launched another sneak attack. He could already feel a few powerful auras approaching him. "Hurry up and finish the battle." Jia Kong shouted. Long Fei's eyes were tightly shut. The idea was tightly holding on to Ghost Rider. If it was as he had expected, when the Tianshu fell victim to the demon and its power disappeared, then he kill. Long Fei's heart turned sinister. No matter what, he did not want his life to be in someone else's hands. However, the Tianshu looked at Long Fei again and said, "Long Fei, you must not use that power." Not waiting for him to finish, the Jia Kong's attack had already landed. Long Fei also moved and shouted, My life is not up to me to decide. What dogs hit fate? What dogs hit determinations in front of me? It's just dog shit. At this time, why would he care about what power he couldn't use? People die. Immortality, tens of thousands of years. Ghost Rider, drag his soul into hell. Long Fei roared out, and a burning chariot flew out from hell. On top of the chariot, there was a ghost rider holding onto a chain. Chapter 1904, Tian Shu Enchanted. Chapter 1904, Tian Shu Enchanted Ghost Rider. Underworld Messenger. The chains in his hands that carried hellfire were like the scythes of the Reaper, specifically meant to take his life. The door to hell opened. Ghost Rider rode on his Harley motorcycle and flew out. The scene was extremely cool. Even the Tian Shu trembled. Long Fei, what is this? Jia Kong was even more confused. Lord, evil spirit. Long Fei, however, did not speak any further and shouted, "Kill them!" Shua. The chain moved, fiercely twisting, and directly wrapped around the neck of an evil spirit Buddha, fiercely pulling. Ka! Asterisk, the head was fractured. Within a few seconds, his entire body turned into a pile of black powder. With a gentle breeze, the powder dissipated into the air. Not only did he kill, he even killed them cleanly. Just like that. Jia Kong's face was filled with shock, as though he was facing a great enemy. He stared at Long Fei and shouted, "Who exactly is he?" Long Fei grinned. "It's your ancestor. Didn't you want to kill me? Weren't all these 1,000 years of waiting to kill me? Come the F***CK, now." Long Fei roared, his eyes fierce. The demon energy in his arms stirred along with his anger, as though it was about to break out. Just as Long Fei was talking, the metal chain in Ghost Rider's hand once again wrapped around another Buddha, causing his entire body to turn into black powder. Ding! Congratulations to player Long Fei for killing Evil Spirit Buddha for obtaining 39,000 experience, 39,000 holy power value, and 1 metamorphic energy value. Ding! Congratulations to player Long Fei for killing Evil Spirit Buddha for obtaining 39,000 experience, 39,000 holy power value, and 1 metamorphic energy value. 2 consecutive notifications sounded. 2 quick kills. Jia Kong's expression became more and more unsightly. He simply could not understand Ghost Rider, and he even more so did not know whether he was an evil spirit tribe or a demon from hell. Seeing that his 2 disciples were both killed, his heart trembled. He stared at the Tian Shu and said, "The head of the 4 holy monks has brought back a demon." Ha ha ha. If word of this gets out, what do you think the people in Bliss Temple would think? Tian Shu, you sure are bold. The Tian Shu frowned. However, Long Fei said, "You can't become a Buddha, and similarly you can't become a devil either, because you are just a lackey of the evil spirit tribe. No, you don't even have the right to be a dog, because you will soon become a dead dog." Ghost Rider's chains moved again, locking towards him. Jia Kong's reaction was extremely fast. He instantly appeared behind the other disciple. Shua. Rumble. The disciple didn't even have time to react before he was caught by the iron chain. His body instantly ignited, turning into a pair of black powder, and even his bones were completely burnt. Hide. I'll see where you can hide. Long Fei snorted. The motorcycle roared and flew at an extreme speed. The iron chain in his hand started to spin. Jia Kong explosively retreated and said, "Tian Shu, you, as the head of 4 holy monks, did not suppress such an evil being when you saw it? How can you be worthy of your identity?" The Tian Shu stared at Long Fei. He only knew that Long Fei's arm was that of a devil's hand, but he never thought that Long Fei would still have the power to summon out such an evil object. He asked himself, did I really bring a demon? Is he a demon? The Tian Shu did not move. Even though Long Fei was a demon, he was not able to stop him now. His energy was rapidly draining. His mind was quickly being occupied by the hundreds of thousands of evil spirit souls. He was slowly losing control of his body. Bedevilment any time. Even if he had the power, he would not dare stop Long Fei. Long Fei was not someone from the Holy Buddhahood. However, his heart sank at this moment. Jie Kong's expression also suddenly changed, revealing a pleased cold smile, and said, "Did you sense it? It's coming. The high monk from the Bliss Temple is coming. What if he saw it? Ha ha." The Jie Kong was very clear on the purpose of the Tian Shu bringing Long Fei to the Holy Buddhahood. He wanted to find the Buddha root and heal his injuries. But once Long Fei was able to summon the Ghost Rider and be discovered by the people from the Bliss Temple, he would never be able to think of obtaining the Buddha root in his life. The Tian Shu immediately said, "Long Fei, stop." With 4 Buddha killed, his experience points rose by 1,000,000. Very good. There was only one boss left. Stop, not kill. What kind of joke was this? Kill, 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 kill him. Long Fei did not have any intentions of stopping. However, the Jie Kong was extremely fast as he continuously dodged. Furthermore, he was also deliberately stalling for time, a smile on his face as he said, "Tian Shu, are you trying to lose control of your body? He's a demon too. You two are both demons. If the people from Bliss Temple were to see this scene, it would definitely be very exciting." Ha ha! The Tian Shu shouted, "Long Fei, stop." Long Fei did not listen. In the distance, the 3 Buddhist light figures got closer and closer. What strong demon spirit flames! How did a completely different devil fire die? Could it be that Jie Kong has become stronger again? Let's not talk too much first. Tian Shu is of 4 holy monks. Something must not happen to him. The 3 of them sped up and flew up. As they got closer and closer to it, they felt that unique evil spirit aura. Their hearts were also filled with doubt. It's too late. The Tian Shu was extremely anxious. He couldn't stop Long Fei. Ghost Rider couldn't be killed, so the situation was in a deadlock. If people found out that Long Fei could control Ghost Rider, then Jie Kong laughed proudly. Ha ha ha! Ha ha ha! Suddenly, the power in the Tian Shu's mind suddenly relaxed, and the evil spirits instantly took over his entire body. Buzz. The Tian Shu was bedevilish. The pupils of his eyes instantly changed to a dark red color as the devilish flames around his body frantically burned. Ha ha ha! The head of the 4 holy monks, Tian Shu, has been bedeviled. Jie Kong was incomparably pleased and started to laugh maniacally. It was also at this time that he let down his guard against the Tian Shu. Evil spirit magic tribe would never attack him. Long Fei was also stunned. Jie Kong said excitedly, "Brat, it's time for you to die." He was enraged. He struck out forcefully. The Jie Kong had always been looking for an opportunity and seized the moment when Long Fei was in a daze to attack with his full strength. She struck towards Long Fei's head. This time, no one could stop him. Ghost Rider simply didn't have time. As for the Tian Shu, he had already become obsessed and would not stop him anymore. Long Fei's expression sank because at this moment, the energy of the Tian Shu on his body had not completely disappeared. He became weak. Am I going into a coma? Chapter 1905. Chapter 1905. Once the Tian Shu was bedeviled, his previous strength would completely disappear. Long Fei's body would once again fall into a coma. Then he would definitely be killed by the Jie Kong. Right now, Long Fei still needed a lot of experience before he could level up. Even if the boss was killed instantly, it wouldn't level up. What should he do? His life was hanging by a thread. Jia Kong's sneak attack. Not far away, the high monk from Bliss Temple was getting closer and closer, and all of the matters were disadvantageous to Long Fei. Kid, die. Jia Kong's powerful strength burst forth and instantly landed in front of Long Fei, covering him with a palm. The evil spirit turned the sky upside down. Waves of powerful, gaseous flames blasted towards Long Fei like thunder. He couldn't block it. Even if his body was at peak condition, it would not be able to withstand such power. Long Fei was unwilling to give up. Extreme displeasure. If he couldn't kill the boss, he would instead be killed by the boss. Right at this moment, the Tian Shu that had just been possessed by the devils will suddenly moved. It released its devil fire and blocked the incoming attack. Boom, boom, boom. He had blocked all of Jia Kong's attacks. A sudden change. The Jia Kong did not even manage to react as he stared at the Tian Shu and said, "Wasn't he possessed? You still dare to attack me, Tian Shu?" The Tian Shu's eyes were purple-red, and the devilish flames around her body burned as she said, "I am a demon, but I will still protect him." Long Fei. The Tian Shu used all its strength and roared. Long Fei was also shocked by the sudden scene. He did not expect the Tian Shu to be bedeviled, but still went to protect him. Following the Tian Shu's loud shout, Long Fei moved. The Ghost Rider's iron chains swept out. Shua. In a flash, he wrapped his arms around Jia Kong's neck. But other than that, the other Jia Kong was holding on to him as he said, "A Ghost Rider like this won't be able to kill me." Ha ha ha. The high monks of the Bliss Temple are about to arrive. If they can see this, it will definitely be very exciting. Ha ha ha. Jia Kong laughed out loud. He couldn't move. The Ghost Rider couldn't move either. The Tian Shu could not move either. The only one who could move was Long Fei. If they did not finish off the Jia Kong before the high monk from Bliss Temple arrived, then everything that the Tian Shu had done would have been in vain. Long Fei was about to faint, because the people of Bliss Temple would never go save a demon. Jia Kong laughed out loud. Ha ha ha. This is fate. Although I did not kill you, you will still have a hard time escaping death. At this moment, Long Fei took a step forward. His body sank slightly. The Tian Shu's power in his body became weaker and weaker, almost unable to support his body anymore. The Jia Kong watched as Long Fei walked towards him, then laughed coldly. "What can a sickly trash like you do? You can't do anything." The Tian Shu looked at Long Fei as it shook its head continuously. His heart was lost, but he was still trying to dissuade Long Fei from using any kind of power. The people of Bliss Temple are about to arrive. Long Fei took another step. Jia Kong was not afraid in the slightest as he looked into the distance and said, "We're here. The high monks of Bliss Temple have arrived. Let them see you two demons." In the blink of an eye, boom, Long Fei's right arm exploded with full power. A loud explosion resounded. His arm turned into a devil's hand, and a shocking demonic aura burst out, soaring to the peak. Jia Kong's expression turned cold. The Tian Shu's expression also became tense. Jia Kong roared out, "What is that?" Looking at Long Fei, his heart suddenly trembled. He had never felt such power before. Long Fei roared out, "It's your ancestor." With all of his strength, he punched Jia Kong in the chest. Buzz. A punch pierced through. The devil's hand madly absorbed the evil spirit force from the Jia Kong's body, and his arms started to tremble. The power in Long Fei's arm became even stronger. A moment later, Jia Kong became a dried-up corpse. The amount of blood on the top of his head instantly reached the bottom. At the same time, the system beep rang. Ding! Congratulations to player Long Fei for killing Jie Kong for obtaining 1 million experience, 100,000 holy power value, and 1 metamorphic energy value. Congratulations to player Long Fei for obtaining Evil Spirit Sariras. Congratulations to player Long Fei for obtaining Evil Buddha Scripture. The system sounded out a few times. Long Fei didn't have time to use his metamorphic energy value, because in that moment, the Tian Shu suddenly threw Long Fei aside, and his arm fiercely stabbed into Jie Kong's body, releasing the devil fire on his body to its peak. Long Fei was startled. The ghost rider disappeared. The Tian Shu roared loudly again. Jie Kong, don't even think of touching him. Long Fei's arm also quickly returned to its original form. At this moment, the high monk from Bliss Temple rushed over. Seeing the scene before them, the faces of the three esteemed monks darkened. The divine monk is bedeviled. Unexpectedly, he killed the Jie Kong. Why is it like this? The Tian Shu turned around, looked at the three esteemed monks, and said with difficulty, I killed the Jie Kong. My mind is being invaded by the evil spirits. I have already become bewitched. He took care of everything on his own. Everything about the devil he carried on his shoulders. He absolutely could not let the matter of Long Fei having a demon on his arm be exposed. He would rather lie. The Buddhist disciples would never lie, but for Long Fei, he had broken the rules many times. A tall monk said, God, monk of the Tian Shu, although you are the head of the 4 holy monks, but you have become a demon now, we are unable to bring you back. The Tian Shu's heart was in incomparable pain. The Bliss Temple was like this before. After leaving for 1,000 years, he was unable to enter, but he did not regret what he had done. Long Fei looked at everything before him. His tears couldn't help but gush out. Why? The Tian Shu smiled and said, because this is my promise. That's true. My bet. Long Fei's heart was in pain. Everything that the Tian Shu had done shocked him. Senior brother, although the divine monk has been bedeviled, his consciousness has yet to completely erode. Can you bring him back? Is there any way to take a look at the Lord of Buddha? Yeah. A godly monk can become a Buddha. He definitely won't be so easily corroded by evil spirits. Take him back. The 3 monks began to discuss. The Tian Shu shook his head. No need. I am almost losing control. I will lose my mind at any time. You all must save him. While they were talking, his body suddenly dropped down from the air. It descended vertically. Long Fei wanted to rush down, but he suddenly realized that the power inside his body was disappearing. His eyes turned blurry. He fainted. This is bad. The strength of the Tian Shu disappeared completely from his body. Long Fei, coma. Chapter 1906. I want to become a son of God. Chapter 1906. I want to become a son of God. He had completely fallen into the demonic path. His strength had completely changed. In this kind of situation, the power in Long Fei's body would obviously not be able to hold on. Disappeared. Without the support of the Tian Shu, he would not be able to wake up. Unless another wave of Buddhist holy energy was injected into his body, he would not be able to stay conscious. Just like a vegetable, the demon in the dome had done far more damage to his body than he had imagined. Inverted view. Long Fei fainted. At the very last moment, his heart tightened slightly. Damn it, all of these are over. Bliss Temple, in the Buddhist hall. We can't let this child live. If not for him, holy Buddhahood would not have become like this. Back then, we should not have agreed to Mu Wanner's conditions, and holy Buddhahood should not have become embroiled in some worldly strife. You're right. If not for him, would 4 holy monks have left for 1,000 years? They have already become Buddha, So what can evil spirit tribe do with their power? The fall of the Tian Shu to the path of demon is a huge blow to us all. It's all's fault. The hall was in an uproar. The Buddhist temple, it was exactly like the market. Moreover, they cultivated Buddhism, but few had the heart. When faced with death, everyone felt threatened. So who would care about others? And then a loud shout came from a high seat in the great hall. "How dare you make such a ruckus?" The main hall quieted down. The host looked at the three monks and said, "Tell me in detail what you have seen. Why have the Tian Shu still not lost her heart after falling into the devil Tao?" A tall monk said, "At that time, because of the angle, we were not able to see it very clearly, but we can be certain of one thing. Tian Shu did not change after becoming bewitched, and he did not lose his will. He is still protecting that brat. I feel that the souls of evil are not impossible to break. As long as our Buddhist heart is stable, we will not be eroded." The host continued to ask, "Are you saying that the Tian Shu fell into the demonic path and did not turn into a demon? He has over 100,000 evil spirit souls in his body." The monk said, "I don't know either." At this time, a monk with his eyebrows down asked, "Host, you aren't thinking of taking back the Tian Shu, are you?" The host said, "Why not? If they can find him, they might be able to break through the evil spirit soul. How many disciples of our Buddhist sect have their Buddhist hearts been corroded? If we can break it, the holy Buddhahood will return to its original state." Ha ha ha. The long-browed monk could not help but laugh, and said, "With their cultivation level being higher than the Tian Shu and their potential, there are many stronger people than them." Lord of Buddha had predicted that the four of them could become Buddha, but he has already been possessed. How can he become a Buddha? He's already gone. Why bother to look for him? Right now, the most important thing for me to do is to deal with that brat. We all know why he is here, Buddha root. But there are no Buddha root in the pagoda, which is probably why the Son of God did not descend for thousands of years. The long-browed elder spoke slowly. "The Son of God is our only hope. Son of God will not descend. We should select a Son of God and have him lead us out of the darkness. That is the main point, and it is not to find demons that have fallen to the demonic path." As soon as he finished, it immediately won the approval of many people. If the Son of God does not descend, we should choose a Son of God. As long as we have his permission, he will be the Son of God. Maybe the Buddha root will appear during the Son of God selection. Son of God is very important. If we had the protection of the Son of God, would the evil spirit tribe be able to handle us? They began to discuss amongst themselves. The host frowned and asked, "What about the brat that Tian Shu brought back?" Many people looked at Longbrows. The long-browed deity slightly moved and said, "His mother was our holy Buddhahood's benefactor, but at the same time, it was also because his holy Buddhahood was involved in a dispute that caused him to end up like this. He wants the Buddha root, we can't take it out either. In my opinion, his life will only bring us trouble. It's better to send him away from Bliss Temple. Whether he dies or lives, it will all be up to him." The host said, "If he leaves Bliss Temple, will he still be able to live?" The invasion of the evil spirit tribe was for Long Fei's life. Without the protection of the Bliss Temple, Long Fei would have definitely died. The long-browed monk said, "Do you want holy Buddhahood or his life? We have to choose one thing for sure. We made the wrong choice back then. And if we make the wrong choice this time, I'm afraid there won't be any place for us holy Buddhahood to stand on in the wild universe world. You know his identity and his mother's identity better than I do. The current Dragon Clan. Does the current Mu Clan still have half a force in the universal world? The situation has already gone. We are unable to reverse the situation. There is no need for us to be so stubborn. For the sake of the holy Buddhahood's Tsongshan, we cannot let him live. As soon as he finished, everyone immediately responded. Long-browed Grandmaster is right. This kid can't stay. He is the cause of disaster. The host felt his heart tighten as he sighed inwardly. Late at night, the host walked into Long Fei's room, his palm pressing on Long Fei's back as the power of the Holy Buddha poured into his body. Ugh. Huff. Long Fei took a deep breath. His entire being seemed to have been revived. The feeling of a vegetable losing consciousness was extremely uncomfortable, seeing an old monk sitting in front of his bed. Long Fei immediately stood up and asked, "Master, where is the Tianshu master? Did you find them?" The host shook his head and said, "My child, I am sorry I was unable to save the Tianshu. Moreover, I can't even protect you." Long Fei's eyes became cold, and she said, "Am I to be sent out of Bliss Temple?" The host nodded and said again, "I'm sorry." Long Fei laughed. Actually, he had guessed it long ago. There was only one Buddha root in the entire Holy Buddhahood, and their whereabouts were still unknown. So how could they give it to an outsider like him? Just like the great revitalizing pellet of Shaolin Temple, how could they give it to an outsider? Long Fei shook his head and said, "It doesn't matter, since I never thought of staying here." "Master, right now, I just want to know if the Tianshu master is enchanted. Is there still any hope?" The host's face tensed up and said, "He is the head of the 4 holy monks. His intelligence is greater than ordinary people. If we can find the Buddha root, then using the strong Holy Spirit chi might be able to purify the evil spirit in his body. It's just that the Buddha root has already disappeared for hundreds of years." Without Buddha root, there was no hope. Long Fei asked again, "Other than the disappeared Buddha root, is there any other way to obtain it?" The host thought for a moment, then said, "Bliss Temple is going to undergo the selection process for Son of God. If I can become a Son of God, maybe I will be rewarded with a Buddha root from Lord of Buddha. A new Buddha root will appear." Long Fei muttered in his heart, "Son of God selection? A new Buddha root." His heart was tight. "Master Tianshu, I owe you. I will repay it with my life. I will definitely become a Son of God." Table of Contents. Table of Contents, Buddha root can save Tianshu. Then Long Fei must get the Buddha root, no matter what. Even if he had to sacrifice his life, he would still obtain the Buddha root. Even if he had to destroy Lord of Buddha, he had to obtain the Buddha root. He had to participate in the Son of God's selection. However, he did not say that he wanted to participate in the Son of God's selection. Half an hour later, the host sent Long Fei to the entrance at the other side of the Bliss Temple, then warned, "Child, you have to take care of everything that happens next. I can't help you either. Your mother once said that she wanted you to maintain your fearless heart." Long Fei said, "Thank you, Master. I will remember." The long-browed monk came over, looked at Long Fei, and said, "Brat, you better not appear in Bliss Temple again. Understand?" There was a trace of threat in his voice. Long Fei slightly smiled and did not say a word. Another monk said, "He's just a piece of trash. It's impossible for him to even fly to Bliss Temple." "Exactly. Brat, it is already our kindness that you were not imprisoned. If not for your mother, you would have been sent to the evil spirit tribe by now. I'm afraid they're all dead now. The evil spirit tribe is not as benevolent as us." Many monks said one after another. Long Fei looked at them and did not say anything. Instead, he memorized every single one of their appearances in his heart and muttered in his heart, "Wait for my return." The host coughed and said, "Long Fei, you must be careful below. After leaving Bliss Temple, head west. The west side is temporarily safe. Remember, must go west, understand. The host's eyes carried a trace of anxiousness, and was reminding Long Fei. Long Fei also felt it, and said, "Many thanks, I will remember." The west. Killing intent. The host said, "All right, let's go. If fate wills it, we will meet again." The host waved his hand, and a burst of energy wrapped Long Fei up. Then, Long Fei's body suddenly dropped to the ground. The Holy Buddhahood were not completely taken over by the evil spirit tribe S. It still had a large area of land that was controlled by the Bliss Temple's Buddhist faith. In the west, New Buddha City, the host let Long Fei head west, but the meaning behind his words was the opposite. No matter where you go, you must not go west. Bliss Temple, the residence of the Long Eyebrow Grandmaster. Yes, as you expected, the host really wants that kid to go to the Western Buddha City. A strong monk said in a low voice. The long-browed deity was calm and did not have much of a reaction. He said lightly, "The 1,000 years of waiting in evil spirit tribe were for him, and if we let him stay in Holy Buddhahood, then our Holy Buddhahood would never have a peaceful day. We can only give him to evil spirit tribe to complete their mission and naturally evacuate from Holy Buddhahood. At that time, Holy Buddhahood will regain his former tranquility and once again become the pure land of the world." This was his choice. The strong monk said, "What if evil spirit tribe doesn't keep his promise?" A ripple appeared in Longbrow's eyes. He was silent for a moment, and then said, "It shouldn't be. Once Long Fei dies, there's no need for them to stay here anymore. Their target is not the Holy Buddhahood. Moreover, if they were to fight for an inch longer, Lord of Buddha would probably not be able to escape. Sacrificing one person to save millions of people in the Holy Buddhahood. Long Fei, your mother had saved the Holy Buddhahood before, and now you can also save the Holy Buddhahood." Longbrows said lightly. Everyone had different thoughts. Everyone's choices were different as well. Force Long Fei to leave Bliss Temple, then we can make our move. To Longbrowed himself, he felt that he was saving the Holy Buddhahood. His actions would definitely move the millions of people in the Holy Buddhahood, and it might even become a Buddha. It is the dream of every Buddhist. Eyebrows looks up at the sky, staring. And Long Fei, boom. Long Fei landed on the ground in the middle of a forest. After determining the direction, Long Fei did not hesitate and immediately headed towards the east. He had regained consciousness. However, he was still the same as before. He could not use his own strength, and he was still an ordinary person. Right now, the most important thing is to level up. Don't pass out then. Long Fei really hated that feeling of unconsciousness. The feeling of being a vegetable was unbearable. Everything was resigned to fate. Too fucking stupid. Upgrade. I have to think of a way to level up. Long Fei kept thinking of ways to level up. Last time, when he walked with the Tianshu master, he did not discover any demon beast. It was the same for Long Fei, who was in the forest, but he also did not find any demon beast. Damn! Could it be that this Holy Buddhahood doesn't even have a single demon beast? If I don't kill the demon beast, how am I supposed to level up? Without demon beast, it was equivalent to having no experience. Without experience, one could not level up. This was the downside of the system. It was also the thing that made Long Fei feel the most pain. If he wanted to level up, he would have to kill monsters. Otherwise, it would be useless. Long Fei searched the mountain for a long time, but didn't find even a single hair of the demon beast. His heart also sunk. Looks like this Holy Buddhahood really doesn't have any demon beast. This is going to be tough. Long Fei sat down and frowned. If there is no demon beast, then there is another way: killing people. There isn't anything else in the Holy Buddhahood, so there should be a lot of low-level evil spirits. The most concentrated place should be Buddha City, right? Long Fei planned in his heart. He had followed the Tian Shu to look at the Buddha City in the air. However, the moment Long Fei appeared in Buddha City, it was the same as exposing himself. F***CK. If I don't enter the infernal realm, who will? Moreover, to this daddy, the Buddha City is heaven. I will be reborn in this heaven. Long Fei clenched his fists tightly. He looked at the experience slot, the corners of his mouth lifted up in excitement. Buddha City, Evil Spirit City. It was also the Holy Buddhahood's hell, the place where the devil fire was the strongest. Hundreds of thousands of Buddha cities people turned into evil spirits and roamed around the city. To others, this was hell. However, to Long Fei, the Buddha City was a heaven for upgrades, a sea of experience. The key was, no one would have thought that Long Fei would appear in the evil spirit Buddha City, even if he didn't go to the Western Buddha City. Let alone the long-browed elder. Even the host wouldn't have known. The evil spirit tribe would have even more never thought of this. Buddha City, paradise, I'm coming. Long Fei stepped forward. What did you say? There's no way to go to the Western Buddha City. Are you sure? The long-browed man's expression turned sinister. He frowned and said, only the West is the pure land of Holy Buddhahood. Where else can he go if not the West? A monk shook his head and said, I don't know. There is no trace of him. Long Brows pondered for a long time and muttered, could he have gone to Evil Spirit Buddha City? You're tuning in to the Mystic Fist YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.